everyone. Welcome to the third prequel of Unsung Fury. I'm so excited for this. I hope you all are just as excited as I am. Of course, this episode is going to be with the wonderful Delric. Hi. Ooh, I gotta unmute you now. There you go. Now you can. You have the power to speak.
This is how Maggie is able to maintain such a long relationship with me. So we were friends as long because she just like mutes at will, and it works out, you know.
If only you could really do that. Oh my gosh.
Can we end the stream quick? Oh, nope, it's already displayed.
Of course, just to kind of go through all the quick spiel, I will be disappearing into the ether in a little bit, but I just doing a little bit of intro here. First of all, I want to introduce the wonderful people that I have here. So first and foremost, we're going to talk a little bit to Scott because he's going to be on here. It's so wonderful to have you back. Obviously, you've been on my channel before, right? I know that we've done a few things on here. I know the Hill Giant one you were on. The Storm Giants, that's what it was. The charity event.
I was going to say, I haven't done a charity event yet.
I thought you did the Storm Giant one.
I think I was.
Oh, I reached out to you, but every single time I reach out to Scott, he just can't do anything with me. But now I've locked him in forever for the Emperor.
I actually have it written in my schedule as Maggie Mondays.
Yay!
I do like the word Maggie Mondays because
that's pretty good.
That's your
actually.
video day.
But yeah, so we are going to be playing Warhammer 40K Wrath Glory. And I'm just so excited. I've been very excited for this ever since they announced that they were doing it, and I was like, I need to play it. And originally I was like trying to get roll for it to do it, but we had a lot going on, so we couldn't do it. But I got these fools to get into it, especially Frank, to learn all the rules so that he could GM and teach us all the rules.
Me and Maggie have been planning this for a year.
Not a year.
Okay, since before last October.
Yeah, before last October. This is true.
Like in August of last year.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Well, I got a new job and then I had to move, and so like things got pushed back because I think originally I reached out to everybody for a January launch.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I was like, I'm moving in January. That's not happening. But first, I'll let Scott tell people who you are and where people can find you. Don't talk about your character yet because I'm sure Frank has plans for how that's going to happen.
You can't see this name then. You don't know my characters. Can I cover that?
They know a little bit. I've teased a little bit as well. Chat. If you read the tweet earlier. Oh, as well, I'll put the tweet in there. But go ahead, Scott. Tell people who you are, where they can find you, what you do for life.
I breathe, I eat, and occasionally I poop.
Hey, we have things in common.
Yeah.
I don't have any of those in common. Sorry.
That means we're friends, right?
But Frank, we beard.
No, you attempt to beard.
Whoa.
Oh, the shade.
I beard.
No, I just overheat, and so I have to keep it short, you know? All right. Hi, everybody. Scott Delric. So you can find me on my channel, twitch.tv/Delric, but I also am the co-owner of Lost Initiative Show. I do a lot of tabletop stuff, which is why Maggie and I are such good friends. Is because
that's how we met. We met through D&D.
Yeah. Grommen. Woo! So I can't wait till when Christmas time comes around so I can watch the Grommen reading the Christmas story video again. No, you can't watch it in June or July. It's a little awkward.
You could do July. You could do Christmas in July.
Is that a thing? Should we do that?
I don't know. Sure.
Do you want to dress up as Grommen again for July 24th or 5th, whatever?
I mean, if you can get the cast together, I'm so in.
I've tried.
I know. I will play Grommen again. I love him. I miss him so much.
It's one of those things where I've seen dumb played well, but I've never seen dumb played like so successfully before. Like it was like
I was like, where's this going? I think you're just I thought you were gonna be like so terribly.
No, Grommen was a dumb character, not Maggie.
Well, so here's the thing: he had like a 6 intelligence, but he also is a really good fighter. So how I played it off is like he's not smart with anything that like is books or anything that is like things that you would think he's smart at, or that most people who are smart at. But he's good at like survival and the environment and knowing like the insights of danger that you have as a feeling, like that type of thing, especially since he was a totem barbarian. And then also the element of like war. Like, obviously combat is where he's intelligent. So you just have to, and also I think a lot of times some people just are overly dumb just to make crazy things
There was
happen.
literally was going to get so like some of my favorite alignments are the more extreme alignments in D&D, and unfortunately people take those to the extreme. That's why you hear things like chaotic stupid or lawful stupid or whatever, right? So Gromit was dumb without being that often too seen overly dumb, like dumb in the point where it's like this character's not fun to be around. And then also what you often see is
ruins the quest or ruins everything that you're trying to do. You're like, come on, you're not that
exactly.
dumb.
Or somebody that dumps the stat for the sake of mechanical benefits, but actually plays somebody with
I
average or
rolled
higher.
that.
Yeah, no, but no, I know that. But I'm saying like often people will like lower the stat or roll the stat low, but still play a higher intelligence. It was like, again, it was done successfully, and so I really enjoyed it.
Well, thanks, Scott. I'll keep you around. I paid him to say that. I mean, I am paying him, but not to say that.
Are you sure? Because I think my bank account just went up a little bit more. So.
And of course, next is this crazy fool who's trying to kill Delric. Frank, tell us a little bit about who you are, and then we'll kind of do the spiel, and then you guys can have at it.
So far, it's a tie with yes and no's. Everyone vote yes, please. But hello, as you all know, I am Frank. War Master Frank, as I like to call, or in this case, Mega Knob Frank, but you'll find out why later. Delric, your vote does not count. In fact, it counts negative. So
I just voted yes by accident? Is that what you're saying?
What? No. Oh, Snazz's counts for 3 because yours doesn't count. All right. But as you know, I am here to tell a wonderful grim dark story and to maybe murder Scott.
Oh, come on. He can't. It's a prequel.
Maggie said the rule: no killing in back and what are they called?
In the prequels.
She didn't set the
well,
rule.
actually, you could if there was a logical reason for you to come back or something like that.
Exactly.
You're like an undead or something crazy.
Yeah.
But,
He's a demon lord.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just go through the intro spiel, and then we'll let them get to it because that's what we're really here for, right? So if you want to support the channel, of course, hit that follow button. It's a free thing to do. You can also retweet our tweet. I'm gonna post it in the tweet in the chat. There you go. Click that link. Go ahead and give it some love. Also, our Discord is just posted in there as well. We have a wonderful community over here if you want to talk. We also have some channels with spoiler stuff. So if you want to talk spoilers in the Unsung Fury channel, you can go ahead over there and rage your emotions, and other people will share them, or you'll argue about it, whatever works. And of course, if you want to help monetarily, I do pay the entire cast. So if you would like to help me pay them, so I'm not just using my money out of my pockets, and you enjoy what their lovely acting skills and their wonderful characters, you can subscribe to the channel here. You also get amazing emotes in regards to that. And also you can donate. There's a donate button somewhere on there, down there somewhere. And that will allow you to donate to the stream in order to pay people as well. And of course, if you want to donate to a cause, exclamation point St. Jude is where you can also donate, and that will not go to me, that will go to St. Jude, but that is also another way that you can donate, and I would appreciate that as well, because we're raising amazing money for them over there, and that affects our D&D campaign that's on Wednesdays. But I will be leaving, and I will leave these two wonderful fellows so that you can see what Luther's background story is all about. Enjoy!
All right. Well, I picture we can jump right into it. So, Luther, are you ready?
Yes.
Excellent. In the waning years of the 41st millennia, the third war for Armageddon waged. Gazgul Urak Thlaka, a orc war boss. Yes, it's a mouthful to say. I saw that face, Scott.
Gazgul Urak.
Yep. Waged a great wog against the world of Armageddon, bringing countless billions of greenskins to bear against the Imperial defenders. Hundreds of years have passed by now, and yet the fighting still rages. Gazgul long ago has fled the planet, like the coward greenskin he is. Now, in the Dark Imperium, we lie after the great darkness has settled, and the Emperor's light shines upon Armageddon once more. The world has transformed in that time. Now it is not a fight between the Imperium of Man and the greenskin hordes. Another contender now fights for the planet. The forces of chaos have turned the world of Armageddon into a hellish war world. Half the planet resembles that of a demon world itself. And yet, brave Astartes from the Salamander chapter, and of course the Space Wolves, were able to stop a ritual from transforming the planet fully and summoning a great demon prince and a former Primarch of the Astartes. And as the camera pans out, we see a class of students dressed in what are clearly militant uniforms. All of them are long trench coats in a dull gunmetal gray. And here we see a younger Luther. Tell us what he looks like in his late teens.
Late teens being like 17-ish. It's one of those, at the time he still wears, as he will his entire life, a very serious look on his face. You know what I mean? He doesn't smile much, doesn't regard things with joy or hope. You know, those are distractions from what need be done, right? From proper service. He is already trying to look a bit older to make sure that he knows that in the future when he has command of soldiers, that they'll respect him, not for his youth, but for his skill. And so they won't respect him for his youth, so for his skill. So he's already trying to grow in stubble, but he's struggling to do so because he is still, of course, young. At this phase, his uniform is perfectly pristine. It's one of those things where it is always exactly where it needs to be. There's never a mark, piece of lint, or anything on it. In the classroom itself, while others may be fairly well focused, I imagine the discipline in a classroom such as this is extremely high. You can imagine that he is effectively a rock, perfectly stayed still, eyes locked onto whatever it is that the instructor is directing their attention to, or the instructor themselves.
Yeah, and the person in front of this class, the class itself is a very large lecture. As you are in something called a Scala Progenium, which is a course, as the name suggests, a school for the prodigies of the Imperium. What is your family-like life?
Family life?
Yes.
I don't have family life.
Ah, yes. Because all those accepted into the Scala Progenium are orphans. Your parents were heroes of the Imperium.
I'm told that.
You're at least told that, yes. And that is why you are allowed to be here. Either that or someone just felt really bad for you.
I don't know. Maybe one day I'll find enough information to properly judge them, but until then, I'm told that.
Now, in front of your class, which seems to be a good 100 other students, some of them are going down the same career route as you. Some of them are going more of a scholarly, a soldier route, rather than your leadership route. They would be known as Tempestus Scions when they finally graduate, which are elite soldiers, more or less. What career are you in line to be?
In theory, I will be graduating as a commissar. In
Excellent.
Theory.
Which means you are most likely in front of the class. In fact, you are part of a small, tight-knit unit of 10 other students who are training to be commissars as well. And already you have all seen combats here on Armageddon, as this is a war world. It used to be a hive world, but countless billions have died to the orc and greenskin incursion. Countless millions more have turned to chaos. And despite the war technically being a victory for the Imperium, it is more of a stalemate. Lines have been drawn, and the front lines must be manned. In front of your class sits your lecturer and your personal teacher. He is something called a militant friar. As the name suggests, he is a monk of sorts. And he is dressed in drab brown robes, yet they are ornaments upon the robes, clearly medals from campaigns that he has taken part in. And he looks around the room and kind of unfocused asks, "Aye, and what would the three main races of the Greenskins be?"
Can I make a check on that one?
And most certainly make a check. What skill check do you picture would...
Going down, it's probably going to be, give me 1 second. Scholar comes to mind. One moment.
I'll let you make a scholar or a insight check.
Where's the insight at? Insight is fellowship and has a higher ranking.
Now, on your skill sheet, you have the roll option. So if you just click the roll button.
Scroll down.
All right, let's see what you got. Oof. You, unfortunately, only rolled 1 point.
Yeah,
now, for everyone in chat who doesn't already know, Wrath and Glory... Oh, look, that one rolled better.
Sorry.
Wrath and Glory is a D6, or six-sided die-based game. The dice themselves, you don't count the number on the dice specifically. A 1, 2, and 3 count for 0 points. A 4 or 5 count for 1 point, and a 6 is a special die that is called a exalted die that counts for 2 points. Now, you're also able to do extra things with those 6s if you are way over the points. But as for now, I'm going to accept that second roll that you made.
Oh, hey. I was like, can you actually natively click re-roll in here? I've never tried, and it worked.
Yes, you can, and it definitely works. So, you definitely pass the threshold for points by quite a lot. However, at the same time, you have 2 dice that were rolled as 6s. So that's 4 points out of the 7. You still pass. You're able to do something called shifting with those dice, which allows you to do something special with those dice. I'm going to share it with you real quick on here. And I hope that popped up for you.
It did shifting, yep. Excellent. So let's see, gain information, improve quality, improve speed. So you're talking about when I roll the super awesome dice, which I think are represented by the eagle with the light around it, or is
that's right?
The eagle with the light around it. Yep.
Yeah, the eagle.
If you roll multiple of those, I'd seen I think a GIF. I think you were the one that posted it to me like several weeks ago with like, if you get this, then it kind of falls into this bucket, and then it goes into there's like a wiki cool like war rat or something.
Basically, so you're able to.
We'll have to post in chat later.
Eventually, you are able to shift one of those 6s, which means you're not going to use it for your overall total for a score because you already beat it. You don't need it. So you can do another type of improvement with it. So would you like to gain more information, improve the quality of the information, or improve the speed at which you gather that information.
I imagine a 7 is wicked awesome information. I imagine that's more than accurate enough with knowing 3 races, but I want to be the first to answer because my nose is quite brown.
Okay, so you're going to go for speed. You just immediately, it pops into your head.
Yep.
So the 3 sub-races, the 3 main sub-races of the Greenskin Horde are, of course, the Orkoid, or the Orc, the Gretchen, and the Squigs. Now, the Orcs are large creatures, almost pure muscle. They're fungoid creatures. They're green. They literally grow from mushrooms. And they are the biggest. They're about 7 foot tall, pure muscle. Think of Arnold Schwarzenegger at his prime, but doubled.
He's under 6 feet.
Yeah, but I'm saying muscle-wise. The Gretchen are more spindly, more human-like. They're around 5 to 6 feet. More like goblins as we would know them, but still dangerous. Squigs, on the other hand, are pink little balls of anger. And they are legs, body, and a giant mouth. That's really all you need to know about them.
So like a goblin from Pathfinder.
Yes, but more like a dog. All right, so you're able to raise your hand, or how do you answer?
I very, very matter of fact. There's no fluff. There's no ego in it whatsoever. It's I wouldn't even raise my hand. He asks.
Do you like raise your hand, or
I just straight deliver the answer?
Okay.
Unless that's not correct thing to do, I just straight deliver the answer.
No, it's proper in this regard because the Friar Militant was asking the class as a whole and waiting for someone to answer.
Yep. So again, I went for improved speed, make sure I said it first, deliver the information as I knew it.
Very good. And he looks down at his table where he obviously has a sieging cart. Luther. Yes. The orcs, they have ravaged this world and we do not like them. In fact, they are Xenos and must all be eradicated and exterminated. We do not tolerate the Xenos, the mutant, or the heretic. And a couple of the students around you kind of like nod their heads. Clearly, you don't?
Nope, I don't nod.
Oh, shocking. He's a heretic, guys. He's already corrupted. And the Friar Militant kind of continues pacing back and forth as he continues his lecture, pointing out weaknesses of the Orkoid race and how they're simply inferior to humankind as a whole. And after about 15 minutes, during these 15 minutes of this relatively dry lecture, it's more of a biology lesson now. How is Luther doing during it?
Perfectly fine. He doesn't mind dry.
Does he take any notes or does everything go mental?
That's a good question. Intellect of 4. I imagine he definitely. I imagine he takes notes, but it's one of those shorthand and only on more complex things. If things are, a lot of the shit they're teaching in these classrooms, because we're dealing with dummies as well, like frontline dummies. Yeah. I imagine it's literally like so repetitive. Most of the stuff is just kind of like, yep. And then the more complex things, I'll take shorthand notes to memorize the finer details.
Okay. And when you're taking notes, are you nostalgic? Do you use pen and paper, or do you have a data slate, or what's basically a tablet?
Give me 1 second. I imagine it's a tablet, so long as it's technically not in my.
It doesn't have to be in inventory. I don't mind. It's basically something.
I did write under gear, guard issue shit. So if that's in my guard issue shit, then yes.
That is most likely going to be in there. Yeah.
So I would do it there. Yep.
Yeah, because a data slate is basically it's a tablet.
Nostalgia. If somebody's sitting there with a fucking feathered quill and a piece of parchment, I'd probably be eyeing them because they're very likely going to be a heretic.
There are actually multiple people doing that.
Like no, we got technology for a reason. Let's use that.
Oh man, you say that, but that's definitely not the Imperial way.
Technology for a reason.
Man, guys, he's already turning into a heretic. That's what the technological heretics are called. Starbucks.
Hey, listen, when your options are Dunkin' and Starbucks, you drink the shit that tastes a little less bad.
You go with Dunkin' because you can get a donut.
You can get them.
What? Not here. All right, moving on. After that 15 minutes of the friar pacing back and forth, his hands clasped behind his back, for a heavyset man, he sure does walk a lot. Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, just like every friar, he has the bald spot and the monk cap hairstyle. He turns towards the class and reaches his hands in front of him and claps them together. All right, dismissed. It's time for duty. And he motions towards another man who's been waiting patiently in the side of the room. This man is dressed in a similar fashion to the students around you, except his uniform is tan in color compared to your drab gray. It looks like he has, I want to call it webbing because that's what it's called, but he has a belt with pouches, which are clearly military issue ammo pouches, and what looks like rudimentary armor underneath his long tan trench coat. Can
I roll to see if any of this gives me an inkling as to what he is? Same roll or scholar?
I would just go with insight again.
Okay, cool.
DC of 2. Oh yeah, no, you automatically know what he is. How did you roll an 11? Oh my god. How did you roll 5? I'm confused at how you rolled so well there. But okay.
I pressed the reroll button, which now isn't an option.
Oh, well, I think that's why. Don't roll the reroll option, roll the other one.
Does it add? Do you think it compounds?
It takes away, it takes away all the failures, because you're re-rolling your failures.
Oh, that's why I got a 7 last time.
Yep.
Shh, don't tell Frank. All right, insight.
You still pass.
Yeah.
If you want, you can shift that die into something.
Actually, I'm gonna go for improved quality on this one.
Okay. You actually know exactly who this is. You've never met him specifically. However, you have heard about him, whether from rumors or you somehow listened in on it. Actually, you tell me how you know about him.
How do I mean, honestly, I've lived on this planet my entire life from before it really fell into chaos and war and whatnot. Back when it was still a Forge world, I was living on this planet
several hundred years ago.
When it was still a Forge world?
Yeah, several hundred years ago.
Oh, so then it was just because
it's still a Forge world and a Hive world, but this war has been raging for like 3 centuries now, and it's at a stalemate.
Oh, my apologies. From like before, things got to where they are at the moment, because things obviously got worse recently or whatever. So anyways, I imagine that he had a reputation that I would have heard from in the past. And then obviously anybody of interest that looks like they might directly impact my career, I'm going to be looking into them. My character is quite studious. Understands he needs to know people in positions of power, because one of the ways that you get power is by knowing those that have power, finding out how the heretics and destroying them, and being known
Very
for
good.
it.
All right. So you actually know this guy quite well by reputation. Most of the other students, it's a class of 100, maybe another 2 people know who this guy is. This man goes by the name of Militant Sergeant Philippe Allura.
Philippe Allura.
Here, I will copy it down.
I think I could not spell that, but that's
yeah.
okay.
Well, okay, if you insist.
No. I was kidding. I can't spell
Too late. I already copied and pasted.
Good.
But yes, he's Militant Sergeant.
I would not spelled that name that way.
I know. Welcome to Warhammer, where spelling is bullshit. And his reputation is not well known throughout the school, as he is one of the people who takes the graduating classes out into their final bit of combat. As you are on Armageddon, it is a stalemate in this war. You will charge across a trench line or face off against demon hosts. And you will die. And only the best of the best are able to graduate from the Scala.
I want to walk up to him.
Okay.
And introduce my I don't know what would be the appropriate greeting. If it's just like to stand in front of him or some bow.
I'm not even going to make you roll for that. It's called the Aquila, where you go like this.
Oh, okay.
Because it makes the eagle. Did you have the eagle? No, just like that. And you basically go like that in front of him.
I'm going to practice this. I'll be in the shower and be like, am I doing it right?
Yes, you technically are. Kinky.
So I'll go up to him and go like this, and after I do the appropriate greeting, getting his and the instructor's attention, I'll just simply say to him, I look forward to the day that we will be journeying across the battlefield together.
That is good, lad. That is today.
Did I know that prior?
No.
Okay. Like, hey, asshole, you might have marked on your calendar today was graduating day.
Yeah. Hey, congrats! You're getting your diploma today. Nobody knew.
Then, even though most of my face doesn't look surprised, I imagine my eyes, like he completely floored me, caught me off guard.
Just do like the kind of eyes widen.
Yep. I'll look to my instructor to confirm that he's not lying.
Yeah, you're in the militant friar nods his head and turns towards the class as everyone's shuffling to gather their things. Most people they don't have much, just their common items, such as canteens, mess kits, and the like. It's very bare bones. Eating is allowed during the lectures because it's a 8-hour lecture, and it's, hey, if you don't have to leave for lunch, good. You're going to be here for 12 hours in this lecture. Yeah. All right. Sorry, what? You got super... I just saw your face like go over there and I was like, what happened?
You're good.
You distracted me. I blame you. But yeah, most everyone kind of pauses and a slight wind of whispers go through the room as other people have overheard you talking with the sergeant. And the militant friar, or friar militant, I'm going to say it backwards and forward a million times, turns towards the class and kind of just gives this grim smile, open tooth. You can tell he's missing teeth. And kind of just says, "That's right, everyone. Your next class will be heading over to the armory to collect your weapons. Today, you're heading to graduation. Those of you that survive will be shipped off-world, off this wonderful planet of ours, to serve the Imperium in a greater manner. Those of you who fare will have served the Empire enough. Class is dismissed."
As people are getting their stuff and going to leave or whatever, I'm going to take an extra moment and survey the room, just quickly looking over all the different people in the classroom that I've spent so much time with until this point, and kind of with my mental catalog of who I've been observing this whole while, just kind of guess to myself who I think is going to die, who I think is going to live, and who I think is going to already have proven themselves to be heretics until this point. Because there are those in here that are, let's be serious.
Yeah. Luckily, you're not an inquisitor. You're just looking for the cowards.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, what about your squad of 10? You are one of those 10, of course.
Mm-hmm.
How are they?
I honestly, it's one of those things where as I'm surveying and looking over them, and same thing, mental notes, I also probably catch a few eyes of them doing a similar thing back. Kind of also surveying the area. We're not the jump into action with the chainsaw weapon attacky, shooty peoples are the people that are meant to analyze and approach. So it's kind of like one of those, I see them, they see me, we know what each other's doing.
Okay. Yeah, so everyone starts filing out of the room in a fairly organized fashion. A queue kind of starts at the door, and people go. They salute the friar militant. I almost said it backwards again. Just quick bow their heads, fly away.
Was that Batman? I feel like there was one of the Batmans.
What? No. It's the bird for shadow puppets. And they all file out. For the most part, once you get into the hallway, it's relatively threadbare. The walls themselves are clearly made of concrete. The floor, concrete. The ceiling, concrete. In a very regimental fashion, there's a light every 20 feet, just enough to light that area. I know more. The school itself is more of a bunker than a school. It's a small fortress. There are armed soldiers throughout the hallways. Whether to guard you or to keep you in line, nobody really knows. Though, have you ever run into any disciplinary action here in your time at the Scala?
Imagine I have not. I'm very much these are the rules, follow them, there's no reason not to.
What about anybody in your squad?
I imagine here and there, but amongst the 10 of us, I also imagine there's no narcs. Nobody's really squealing out at each other. Every one of us has each other's backs.
You guys sure you're going for commissars?
Yeah.
Commissars are narcs.
Yeah, well, I get that, but amongst the group of us,
okay.
I
so you're
not.
loyal to your people.
Yeah, at least now.
For now, okay.
School's out for the summer. School's out forever.
Indeed. Yeah, but the hallways themselves, as people are walking, it's not the usual, oh, school's out, run everywhere. It is... As a teacher, I know this. Yeah, kids are wild. It's very orderly. Even the young children are marching in straight lines in step. And even the younger classes, which are easily small children of 8 or 9 years old, are wearing these exact same uniforms that you are wearing. And almost like I forgot the thing that goes back and forth. Metronome?
Metronome. I can keep a beat with no metronome.
I don't know that song.
Yes, you do.
I don't know music.
Handlebars?
No.
Oh, okay.
No idea. By the way, this is what you get when you put me and Scott together. We get sidetracked a lot. The rhythm of boots hitting the building is just rhythmic and thunderous throughout, as the school itself is filled with thousands of other students of all ages. Well, under 20, as this is not a college, sadly. More of a high school and an elementary school. However, for your class specifically, everyone files together towards their bunks and racks instead of going to their next lesson. As you are graduating, you know this is fairly common. You are to collect your things and tidy your room for the next class that enters, as you won't be using this ever again.
There are no things in there that I need to collect. Everything that I have of significance to me is either issued or was implanted long ago. I have my memories. That's it.
Do you not have any keepsakes from your parents long dead?
I have my keepsake from my past right here.
Your heart, yes.
No, not my heart. How about this? Right here. My boobies.
Your breasts, yes. Your implants. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, as we were discussing beforehand, I grew up on the. I'm just making sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
On Armageddon. Yeah, I grew up on Armageddon, but not in the part where there's schooling and whatnot. I actually grew up on the Forge, like the area where it's still a Forge world, where they're actively just constantly, manufacturing and mining and blah 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 blah. And unfortunately, the air quality in a place like that is absolutely freaking horrendous. And so, just breathing that from that's like we're talking LA smog would be a vacation from the kind of crap that you inhale every day there. So it just you get black lung and all that kind of stuff very very young, and it just deteriorates you and eats you apart from the inside. So that would have killed me a long ago, like it killed many other people. I imagine not many people live particularly long lives. However, because of the fact that my parents were heroes and I was given an opportunity to enter into the appropriate orphanages that I was pulled from for the schooling, well, they didn't want my potential to waste away as they withered and died from the black lung. So they just scooped them out, probably literally with like spoons because of how deteriorated it was, and replaced them with much better, much higher functioning equipment.
Yeah, so you inherited these implants very early on in life, which is a good thing as, well, less lung rot. Now, as you make it to your bunk and you tidy everything up, you make the bed, which is a very thin mattress, a single sheet, and a single blanket with a single pillow. That is all you need in life.
I imagine I wouldn't even go to my bunk unless I specifically had to go there. I would just go to the next location because there's nothing to get from there. And my room, it's definitely already clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your room itself is a barracks with 10 other bunks in it for your entire squad. So you already know your next destination is the arsenal of the Scala itself. And this isn't the main arsenal. This is a specifically one meant for the students. While it does have weapons that most arsenals will have, it doesn't have any of the super heavy weapons that a actual military unit would have. That's somewhere else in the Scala itself, meant for heavy weapons training and the like. Which, have you gone through any heavy weapons training, or simply just the basics of this is what you're going to be using, this is all you need to know?
Sorry. I imagine literally when it comes to heavy weapon training, I did the most basic rudimentary training that needed to be for that, but mostly focused on sidearms and the like. And when it comes to selecting the weapon, I actually imagine I spend a couple of extra moments being one of the first ones, if not the first one there, because I totally skipped the whole bunk bit. I actually imagine I would go right over to the pistols and spend a couple of extra moments trying to find which pistol I thought would best suit my character. And actually the one who doesn't, because he's just going to grab a bolt pistol, he doesn't really need anything beyond that. I imagine actually the one that he would choose is like a little bit longer, slightly longer barrel than a typical bolt pistol, knowing that he particularly is he does not a very good shot, but understanding that a longer barrel tends to mean higher accuracy. He'd pick one out, make sure it felt good in the weight in his hands, and he probably would have it fully picked by the time even people really started filtering it. Because he spend the extra time to care for that, you know?
Yeah, and this is most likely your already assigned weapon. As your weapons are pre-assigned to you. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
This one's mine now. So as you reach the armory, there's a relatively skinny, very gaunt-looking figure there. They themselves are something called a servitor, which is basically a human who has either volunteered or is being punished and put into more or less a cybernetic body. They're still human. They still have all their fleshy bits, but they are more computer and machine than man at this point. This figure, however, is fairly sentient. You're not sure of their history, but you assume they are one of the old Friar militants just by the look of this figure. They have a long scar down their face, but they themselves are only a head and torso. Their arms and legs are welded behind them into a much larger machine that is hanging down from the roof and moving ever so slightly with a disjointed action. And as you are picking out your weapons, it hovers over you, and you get this kind of annoying metallic voice. Yes. You will have to sign for your weapons, of course. Have you labeled all your documents properly before release?
I imagine the documents have been all labeled properly, but
you're probably able to just like pull out from your rucksack.
Yeah, whatever it is that's needed, I will, if not have it in hand, retrieve it now and hand it over, and say, and just simply ask, where is it that I need to sign?
And a metallic servitor arm, kind of mechadendrite as they're called, kind of comes out of this machine, takes the paper in its clamp hand, holds it up. You can tell that it's not really looking with its eyes. It's looking with something else, but you don't see any cameras. And the machine itself zooms away. The mechadendrite puts the paper down on a much larger stack of papers and then zooms back towards you with a loud mechanical whirring noise. And it looks you over again and says, you have been issued a bolt, pistol sidearm, and a chainsword. Have you collected both items? If you have collected both items, please vacate the premise to make way for others.
It's just one of those moments where I had the bolt pistol already at my side, as previously discussed. My character actually probably would have forgotten that he needed the chainsword, because being so up close and melee is not something that he's particularly keen or had much training in doing. So it's almost one of those like, oh yeah.
That thing. Right. I forgot.
Those hours of training. I forgot about that. And so would go over and, unlike the selection of the pistol, would go over, look at them for probably 3 or 4 seconds, and then reach out and grab one and appropriately holster it or whatever.
Your muscle memory, you're able to grab the one that is just assigned to you.
Sure.
Because the thing with the Imperium is, it is bureaucracy to insanity. Mm-hmm. There are billions of people wasting their lives away just putting in numbers into computers. Hey, just like in real life. But a lot of these jobs are just non-existent anymore and not needed, but they're caught in a loop. Warhammer. There are no good guys, and everything's really boring or really bad. I needed to take a sip before our next part. All right, so another one of your squad members actually arrived shortly after you and was basically waiting in line to enter the arsenal.
Hi, Larry.
Not Larry, sadly. Their name is Voirel Zaytuk. And she's actually kind of been friendly to you since the beginning. She entered around the same time as you and is going the same commissar route as you. Tell me a little bit more about her. Who is she in your squad?
It's probably the one that I personally have the least respect for out of all of them. A little too conniving, always looking for the opportunity to, when I said that amongst the group of us, we aren't snarks for one another, it's kind of like an unspoken rule. This is the person that always tried that boundary. And so you have to respect the fact that they are doing their job the way that they're supposed to be done.
Hermione Granger.
However, it's to the point where it's like, you are literally just trying to one-up and trip over the other people that are trying to get through this process together. You know what I mean? So I personally do not like this individual, but I imagine gets along well enough with the others.
Yeah, so even before you grab your chainsword, you can hear her voice behind you as she calls over the servitor that's just floating through the air. And she just, in her sing-song voice, Gregor, Meister Gregor, I have my forms ready for you before I take any weapons. Would you like to look them over before I take anything from this? And you hear the metallic voice just responding to her in a very monotone voice of, "Thank you, Voirel. Wonderful as always. I am looking forward to listening of your exploits in the future. You show great promise. Please, I have set aside other things for you to take." And she goes off, and it's very odd that the servitor is setting things aside for her. Like you said, she's kind of conniving. She's clearly weaseled her way into favor with the staff here. And because of that, she's kind of got some better stuff. She's been getting better treatment because of that. Now, a couple hours do pass, and during those couple hours, you are in your mustering hall, which is where everyone is meeting until everyone is armed and ready to go. It's not so much that you're waiting on other students, however, you are waiting on your transportation, which has not fully arrived yet. A few trucks have arrived, these six-wheeled vehicles, spewing Promethean, which is basically fuel. And they load up one squad at a time and then leave. About 2 hours pass. What do you do in those 2 hours as you wait for your transportation?
I know that my final test is actually to go for combat. It's less about what I've been training for and more about actually participating on the lines themselves, which I understand that my training was for being on the lines and supposed to embolden troops and keep the morale going in our various ways and whatnot. But I know that this is going to be straight in the thick of it, the dangers. So I imagine my character is almost in like a closed-eyed, somewhat meditation as he's trying to remember like the various things that he's been trained, not just the words, but also like muscle memory is very much a big thing in combat, and he's probably overthinking that. Like, okay, so in this scenario, the way that you're supposed to do is, and you imagine like how like samurai training is very like practice the same thing over and over and over again until it becomes overthinking that sort of a thing. Probably tripping himself up over it.
Yeah. And as you're lost in thought, I want you to make a quick check of sorts. Just make a quick awareness check. And we'll give you a difficulty of 3. Hey, you pass. All right. So you're able to notice this before anything happens, where you hear the sound of engines just coming, going, loading up a squad, the sound of footsteps behind you as students march on by to whatever they're doing. You hear a little bit of a heavier set of feet behind you, slowly approaching, and the rustle of clothes as someone reaches out and actually grabs you on the arm. What do you do? It's not like an aggressive grab, it's the...
Turns a regard.
Yeah. So, you don't see anybody that you recognize, but they are clearly dressed in the same uniform as Militant Sergeant Philippe. And they look at you and your squad standing in your column formation. And he just nods at you and says, through his gas mask, because they all wear gas masks, "Green skins in, the sewers below. I need volunteers, and it looks like it is you and your friends here. I have permission from your militant flyer that hunting these greenskins will be a graduation." How do you respond?
I simply nod and kind of like get myself physically like stand up wherever I need to go, whatever, to be prepared to leave.
Yeah. So this figure kind of motions for you, very relaxed, not the same rigid style that you are used to. This person seems just very relaxed and carefree as they, all right, let's go. The 10 of you.
Okay.
And yeah, he leads your group away towards what is clearly a sewer entry. It's where the parade ground, the mushroom hall that you were on, is this nice flat stone with a road in front of it. The entry to the sewer is almost looks like the entry to a bunker. It's this bulbous entry with a large metal door, which has brass outlinings throughout and a brass skull in the center. He opens up the door and motions for you to go inside first.
Okay. I mean, I actually personally would probably be in the front of that line because, one, I'm honestly not scared, but two, signs of fear are a very bad thing.
Yeah.
So I'll obviously go first, and the line down there, and then when he gestures into the doorway.
And
does this seem like a scenario where I'd have my weapon drawn already, or should I keep it holstered?
Would you like to ask him?
No, I want general feeling of the scenario as opposed to inquiring.
Yeah, general feeling is you're going into an unknown situation with no information. So for Luther himself, it's whatever he would react to that. Would you have your weapon drawn?
If the other students don't, if the majority of them don't have it drawn, I will not.
Most of them don't. One or two of them do.
No.
Okay. And yeah, you can tell that he's making sure all of you get in it, that nobody tries to get out of this duty. Mm-hmm. And as he closes the door behind you, you can actually see there is light inside. Basic wall torches, which are regular electric lights, just spewing wonderful yellow light as you enter slowly into this sewer. There are actually guards posted here, clearly meant to make sure that no greenskins are sneaking up this way. They are dressed in the same style as the man who has led you here before. He has not bothered to introduce himself or really make small chat with you guys, but when he gets closer to the guards, he starts talking with them and says, "Hi, it looks like we got a little more fresh meats here." And you hear just a gas mask covered kind of laugh from the guard.
The Volus of the group.
Pretty much. They're all Volus. So, about the Iron, or the Steel Legion, which are the people, the Imperial Guard from Armageddon itself. They all wear gas masks just because the air is horrible. And yeah, that's really it. They're all Volus, as it turns out.
I would actually ask, because all of them wear gas masks, what about the students? How are they reacting to the terrible breathing conditions?
How are they? You tell me.
I imagine if the air down here is so horrible, granted, they're concerned about prolonged exposure as opposed to short exposure, but I imagine there's no reaction immediately. Maybe as time goes on, or is this laborious breathing from literal combat or having to huff it or something like that?
Yeah.
Maybe that, but for now.
The air is foul, but it's bearable down here.
Yeah.
It's mostly on the surface that is just horribly toxic. And granted, a lot of that does get run off into the sewer. But like you said, most people here don't have to worry about it except for prolonged exposure, which you personally are fine with due to your implants.
And, this being my home world.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of them, but definitely my home world.
Everyone here is from Armageddon itself. Unfortunately, the Imperium doesn't really ship anybody to the Scala Progeniums on Armageddon because they would rather send troops.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's a lot of assets you're wasting on just transporting children.
Yeah.
Who could even get shot down during the transportation. So,
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's pretty much what happens to every Commissar group that goes out in the truck. They get blown up before they get to the front line.
It's because they ain't me.
And suddenly it collapses, only hits you with rocks, and
I make my saving throw. Hey!
all right. Now, as you make your way with your squad deeper into this sewer, the walls here are cavernous. It's deep. The air is heavy here. The walkways are more like large streets themselves than simply catwalks. The sewage weather itself is exactly how it sounds. It's sewage weather, but it's more like a river running than a simple, easy to trudge location. Every now and then there are bridges that will lead you to the other side. And the further you go in, the more you're able to tell something isn't right in these sewers. The lights are flickering or off. Every now and then you come across mushrooms, which one of your other squad mates points out to be orcoid mushrooms. And one of you quickly throws a flame on it to simply burn it before it can fully grow.
I don't think I have anything that does flame, so it's likely one of the other ones.
Yeah, they just light like a rag and just throw on it.
Unless you're saying Luther's so hot that the things he touched combust.
Ooh, unfortunately not. That would be very cold.
Are you sure the artist did depict them very similar to myself? So I mean,
Oh, they must look horrible then.
No, I'm just saying they did choose
Bad, I don't know, just a bad model, I guess. Yeah. All right. But as you continue going by, the soldier who brought you down here simply just through his gas mask says, "Better that you all have your flashlights ready. It's going to get dark." Yep. And what does Luther do? Does Luther actually have a flashlight with him?
I imagine so. Again, it's all my equipment is just whatever was mandatory basic. So if it was part of,
you can just say that you have a flashlight. I just want to know.
I wrote because it was literally I said, "What do I have for stuff?" And you said what it says there plus guard issue shit. And so I literally wrote those exact words when we were setting it up before. So if that is in that phrasing, then I got it.
Yeah, no, a flashlight will definitely be issued. I was just wondering if Luther personally would carry a flashlight.
I mean, I imagine because you just walk around with the flashlight and the
and yeah. So
sorry, it goes like that. I don't know why I was going like this, right?
Yeah.
Why is the flashlight on top if the underneath?
I don't know.
I'm brilliant.
Now you said Luther is leading the line.
He would definitely be going first.
Okay.
There's no reason not to. He's not afraid. I imagine there might be some fear amongst the others, but yeah.
Yeah. Now, your group of people automatically take a formation, which is more of a scattered wedge. That way, if somebody starts opening fire from the front, you're all not going to get hit. Mm-hmm. The walkway itself is a good 50 feet wide, so it's easily able to accommodate you. As you go further into the darkness, you actually see more bodies of humans, traces of blood throughout. Clearly there was already a firefight here. Roll me an awareness check.
Yep. Awareness is going to be this bad, Larry. Result is not bad.
Nice. I'm going to say that you beat it by 2, so you can shift a die if you wish.
Yeah, I'll shift 1. Because it's awareness, I'm definitely going to do gain information.
Okay. So these are other members of the Imperial Guard. It looks like they're not originally from Armageddon. This is clearly one of the billions of other guardsmen who have been shipped here to fight. As you would know this from your many lessons, it has been decreed that Armageddon must not fall. But the bodies themselves are relatively new. The quality of your information, you're not able to tell what unit they're from, but you're able to tell that they have died here within the past couple days. And definitely there was a fight here. However, their weapons are missing, along with ammo.
The weapons and the ammo are all gone.
Mhm.
Okay. So I will, seeing that, I will kind of draw. Is the sergeant still with us? The one that was kind of met us down here, brought us down here, or did they just guide us in and left?
Leading the rear of your group.
Okay. So the rear of it.
Yeah.
I never got that officer's name, did I?
No.
Well, that's not good. That's NCO. I would kneel down regarding this information, and then, stand up, sir.
I ain't a sir. I'm a sergeant.
Sergeant. It seems as though all of the weapons were taken. Was it our men that removed them, or were they taken by the orcs?
Orcs usually have no needs for our weapons. They have their own filth. Scattered remains of weapons that they dare call them. Don't know even how they work. We've tried to use them when we're desperate, but they don't use ours. We can't use theirs.
That doesn't answer the question.
We didn't collect them. We didn't even know these bodies were here. We lost contact with them, which is why you're here.
I'm going to look down at the bodies again, kind of like thinking about it, and then like look out at where it is that we're going and kind of contemplate where the hell, like what would have taken the weapons and whatnot. I'll look at the rest of the team that's with me now that they have this information, see if any of them look like they've put 2 and 2 together. If not, just keep pressing on.
No, and roll me a quick Medicaid check.
Medicaid. Look my number. On number. Scotty 5 is alive.
I don't know how you keep rolling 5s. That's crazy.
4 in a row, man.
Yeah, so you do beat this, but only by 1 point, so you can't actually shift. But you're able to tell these are the wounds on the body itself are not from a orc shooter, which is, of course, just a gun.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It would appear to be burn marks from a las gun.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't match up with what you were taught orcs would use.
Mm-hmm.
So something's not right.
If I see that, I'm then gonna look back to him again, look down at the bodies again. Like I'm trying to see if he is playing ignorant or if like he actually is ignorant or is playing ignorant. Is there something I can roll to try to kind of get a read off of him?
Feel like there is something you can roll. What type of roll do you picture you could roll?
It sounds like an insight, but
Oh man, I would definitely go for cunning or insight.
Frank's leading me. He is my Sherpa through the hammers of war. I'm gonna go for insight. That seems to make more sense to me.
Okay, you actually have it right on the dot.
They're 5. It's 5 5s. 5 by 5.
Yeah, something's definitely not right here.
No, everything's right.
He's not being fully truthful.
Mm-hmm.
You're not able to tell what exactly he's not being truthful of, but you know he is lying about not knowing this body, about them being out of contact with these guys. Something about this situation is off, and you know it is.
So, of the other 9 students, the one, I don't know who it is, maybe Larry, that seems to have spent more time, more extra study, whatever it is, with actual like medical training, I want to call whoever that is over.
Yeah, so you call
Billie Jean.
No, I'm not going to let you. I'm going to call them Drag Dragon.
Drag Dragon?
Drag Dragon.
Drag Dragon. I'm like, can you drag Dragon over here? So I'll just look to them and say, drag.
Yeah, they lean down and kind of inspect the body. And
I'll explicitly say to them, right as they're starting the investigation, before they even find it on their own, I'll say, do you see these burns?
las gun marks. That's odd.
Don't
Not
you think it's a
orcs.
little... And then I'll cut myself off and nod.
And how are you being quiet about this, or?
No, I'm saying it in a volume that definitely the sergeant can hear.
His posture itself is looking a little annoyed. Like he's tapping his foot. It's like, all right, we know they're dead. Let's keep moving.
I'll look to the drag and see if he's put 2 and 2 together yet. That things seem off.
You know, I don't know if he has. Roll me a check of some sort. I feel like a friendly friend type check.
So a fellowship check?
Yeah.
So let's see, there's cunning. Actually, I think that would be a cunning.
That would definitely be cunning, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like, I'm just like, because there's one of those things where without him noticing, I'm going to look to him, like kind of catch eyes, look down again, then look to him again, like, cunning.
Ooh, you destroyed that roll.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 2 left over, so you can actually shift 1.
I'm definitely going to improve quality.
Okay. Yeah, so how are you relaying this information?
It's literally one of those things where he's like, and he's like, yeah, not orcs, and I cut myself off because he had obviously put 2 and 2 together that way. And so then when he's like, all right, we already know there's dead bodies, let's move on. I'm gonna like nod, like unconsciously nod, so he knows
like
acknowledging it. And then I'm gonna like look him in the eyes, look down at the burn marks, then look at him again, and give him a kind of like eye, like.
Yeah, I mean, you've trained with him for like the past 5 years. You most likely have a system with most of your people. Yeah, yep. So he immediately picks up on it's like, oh, something's not right here.
Yeah,
I get what you're putting down.
And so once that kind of happens, I'll just give him like a nod, and then I'll stand up and I'll much more openly nod to the sergeant, and then turn and start walking off like past him or whatever. And once again, it's kind of like leading.
Yeah, and
search.
At this point, drag actually.
I kind of wish I had a gun, like the cosplay gun. Like I want it.
I have a pen.
I need it.
Yeah, drag at this point actually pulls his pistol from his holster, which kind of triggers everyone else to do the same, as they're all now. They know something's up because. You have your weapon out, Drag has his weapon out, and both of you are clearly suspicious about something.
I mean, I'm not being. I wasn't trying to be overt to him.
No, these people have been with you for 5 years. It's like, oh, your body posture changed ever so slightly.
Yep. Okay.
I know this about you. Okay, something's wrong.
Yep.
Follow lead. And you make your way further and further into the darkness of this almost dungeon-like sewer. There's twists and turns everywhere. At one point, you do have to cross a ragged bridge. It's safe enough to travel through, but clearly not maintained. Roll me an awareness check as you are crossing this bridge.
I bet you even just taking a moment to double check it, like 1 or 2 steps in before, test it with your foot, sort of a thing.
Yeah, it's a okay.
I broke my streak.
You did. No, nothing lower than a 5. That's a shame.
Oh no! Do I have to make a jump check?
No. The bridge itself is a mesh metal bridge with several girders. It's rusted. Part of the handrails on one side are just gone. Looks like they fell off years ago. But as you are the first to cross the bridge, and how far behind is your group?
I honestly imagine that we kind of keep in broken down. So there's 5 of us. How many was it?
There's
just
10
the sergeant? Sorry, I meant 10 of us. The sergeant, any of the adults other than him come with us?
No, just him.
Okay, then that makes 11. I imagine we'd be broken up into 2 groups of 5 that are separated from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd be the first group of 5. They'd be pretty much right there with me, and the other group of 5 would be waiting till we finish crossing and then cross, as to not have, too many KGs on that.
And as the sergeant actually crosses with the first group, and your group, you're able to secure the location. Drag is in this group with you, and he basically motions for everyone to fan out, and you just hear one of your people say, pull a 360, which immediately everyone starts going to a different position to secure the area. Mm-hmm. As the second group is crossing, however, roll me a quick awareness again. All right. You notice it right as it happens. You don't notice it.
Do I have any that I can toss over? Because I have 2 eagles with the sparklers. Or if I could change
because it was a difficulty 5.
Gotcha, okay.
You hear it before it happens. You might be able to shout a warning off if you're fast enough. You heard a click. Just this light.
Yep.
And you've heard this before in your many years of school. It is a fuse going off.
Okay.
What do you do? You have a couple seconds to react.
Yeah. Just give me a second to think for a second.
Oh, I know.
A click fuse going off. It was nearby, so it's probably on this side of the bridge.
It sounded like it came from behind you.
From behind me. Oh shit! So not the bridge, but like the deeper in.
No, like on the bridge.
Okay, so yeah.
Because I pictured you are in front of the bridge on the other side already, and behind you is the bridge.
And they only have a couple seconds to react.
Mm-hmm.
The bridge you said was comprised of metal.
Yes.
And bolt weapons aren't going to be able to say sever metal with like a couple shots. I suppose I can't do any more than just shout, "Get back!"
I want you to roll me how they are going to react to that. So one of the things in this is, I'm seeing if you have a leadership. Yeah, roll leadership for me.
Sure.
And then I want you to roll something called resolve. Ooh, very good. Yeah, roll me. I think it might be in your attributes or combat. That's a defiance check. Sorry, I'm looking for, I don't know where on the sheet it is. Check your attributes for me, see if it's in there.
Resolve is here. Oh, I see how to roll it. Yep. Am I applying any modifiers or anything like that, or no?
No. It's going to be, I was going to say difficulty of 4.
As I say, yeah, hold on. Let me just double check something really quickly before you push on. Because I don't get, that's, fearsome respect. Commissars and any allies within 15 meters, which is a pretty big distance.
Yes.
And line of sight have a plus rank. I'm not sure what that means. To resolve tests.
Okay.
So I do get
your rank is 1, so they get a +1.
Okay, so I'm not sure what that means.
It means your total is +1. So you rolled it.
Instead of a 2, I got a 3, which is still not the DC. Gotcha.
That's right. Okay. You are able to shout,
I'm just
"Get
curious."
back. And that one would have passed.
No, I'm just checking something really quickly. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, I'm just saying that one would have passed.
Because I rolled 2 + 1. Okay, and then the modifier is there. That's how
it would have been a 5 in total for that one.
I now I understand the character sheet. Thank you. Sorry.
Yep. And the people in the back of that group are unable to react. They hold up the people in front of them as this explosion goes off. It's clearly a improvised weapon, to the point where you're able to recognize exactly what it was. It was the sound itself is a click, a fuse, and a slight whirring of what sounds like something charging up. You've been taught this, and you've been told, don't do this often, or ever really, but it is setting a lasgun pack off. Yeah, so it's hot plasma everywhere.
Yeah. It's like you're like hypercharging a fucking plasma weapon? This sounds horrible.
Oh yeah, pretty much. And
nuclear reactor meltdown. That's our weapon of choice.
Pretty much. And a flash of red light that bursts out for a good 5 meters. The bridge is consumed in this red fire.
Did I see 75% of them with my 3 out of 4?
No. Sadly, those that you did save were blocked by the people in the back who weren't able to react in time due to the resolve of that. And in a literal flash of red coherent light and now liquid metal, half of your squad goes down. And you hear some who still were alive scream as they plummet the 50 feet to the rushing rapids of the sewer below.
A very important question to ask.
Yes.
You asked me how they're grouped. I said 2 groups of 5, 4 immediately around me and 5 in the back. And then the only other one that came with me was Sergeant Douchebag.
Yes.
Where would the douchebag be?
He was in front of you. By not near the bridge.
He took point. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And he looks at your group and says, happens. Orders are tricky. They must have set the trap. We got to mourn the dead later.
I mean, obviously I was in the moment and giving a shout, but now that I'm outside of the moment, I honestly don't care. But now that I'm outside of the moment, I don't know if it's insight or something like that. Does he look surprised and beyond the typical, like, yeah, shit happens? Does he look like almost expecting it?
Actually, I'm not going to say no outright. I want you to roll for that.
Yeah. Well, he almost looks like he's expecting it.
Oh, hey, not only did you destroy that one, you can shift, and you got something called a wrath point on it. Or a wrath. That's the red dice. Mm-hmm. So a wrath point means something good happened. I want you to tell me what happened here, what you're able to tell.
So first of all, because I think I can shift 2 at this point, in which case I want gain info and improve quality. I don't care about this. The wrath, actually, if I'm allowed to narrate it this way, I don't want necessarily that I find out even more information beyond my shift to gain and improve. I actually want my look to him and my analysis of him to be subtle enough that he probably doesn't get it, but the other 3 that are traveling with Drag and myself, so probably Voirel and whoever the other 2 are, I want them to be able to see the look on my face and kind of put 2 and 2 together, like, he's suspicious of this dude. Okay.
They immediately pick up on that. And just from his body language and from where he was positioned when you turned around after the explosion, he was positioned in a way that he was in cover.
Okay.
His body language is completely uncaring. Actually, you can tell he's a little happy.
I don't know what Voirel's good at, or the other 2 that happen to be traveling with
basic combat.
Sure. Any of them kind of like did a little bit more focus on like weapon tech or ballistics, explosions, anything like that? I know none of us are like those kind of.
I'm going to say yes, just because you rolled a 6 on your wrath die. Yeah, Voirel is a jack of all trades. She's good at basically everything.
Cool. I hate turning to her, but the simple fact of the matter is she's good at what she does, and you can't deny that. So I want her to show me what she's working with and to be like, Voirel, I think maybe we should see exactly what kind of orcs we're working with. Let's see if we can retrieve the remains of that explosive and see how it was tampered with. And I'll start like heading over towards the ledge.
She would mention to you, it was a lasgun pack. There's going to be no remains of the explosion. It's standard Imperial issue. We learned it in class approximately 1 year and 73 days ago. The lasgun pack is able to be overloaded to a point where it will cause a grenade-like explosion with its own power source, which will have about a 5 to 10 meter radius on it. And she kind of keeps going on and on about this, on why there would be no remains.
I let her go to without any interruption, full on deadpan stare, listening to everything she says until she comes to a complete end. And after she finishes, I will say, and how many orcs do you think know that?
Probably a few, but in the sewers, I don't know. We haven't encountered any, which is strange. And Drag actually comes up to you as the other two are now watching the sergeant himself, making sure that his attention is not towards your group. And he goes, the greenskins here that we have met, we would have seen them by now.
Exactly what I was thinking. And then I'm going to
It's like a fight.
I'm going to look over towards the sergeant and say, do you think we question now or see exactly how far down this hole he wants to bring us?
They both kind of shy away from it.
Like they don't want to have to make that call?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will, understanding, I will just walk past the two of them and walk up towards the sergeant and say, Sergeant, how much further down do you think the orcs are?
About 100 yards. And he points forwards and says, I see cover there. I'm going to go get a closer look. And he starts to actually jog off.
I don't think any of us have surveillance equipment with us.
No, you just have your flashlights.
Yeah, if only it was Star Wars. Does he leave his flashlight on, or is his off?
As soon as he gets a little far away, about 20 to 30 feet, you see his light click off, but you can still hear his footsteps. You can make an awareness to see if you can track him in darkness.
I'm not going to do that for now. I'm actually going to turn back to the others, because now that we have privacy, and say, I imagine everybody's thinking what I am at this point.
But this is just another lesson.
Then I'll shake my head and say, I'm not exactly sure what it is that he's trying to do. I don't think this is a lesson. I think there's something more here.
Make an awareness check for me.
Whoop. Yeesh.
Nope. You hear it, but it's too late. It's a simple echo as red coherent light of a las gun erupts above your head, someone clearly aiming too high. And you hear, bouncing off the wall, the noise.
More skulls for the skull throne. Blood for the blood god.
And which is clearly a signal as more lasgun fire snaps off around you. The clear sound that you are very familiar with erupting from in front of you where the sergeant had run to.
Okay.
Initiative.
Okay.
All right. So initiative in Wrath and Glory. The what? You don't have. You don't need a token for it. Wrath and Glory for initiative is actually very good. Players always go first. You also don't have to roll initiative. You wasted that 6.
6. I rolled a 3, boyo.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean you rolled a 6 on your die.
Oh.
In Wrath and Glory, it goes player, enemy, player, enemy, player, enemy. And if you're in a group, which we will be in eventually, the players decide what order they are going to go in, which is quite nice. In this case, however, you are able to go first. As you were ambushed, one of your comrades was hit, but that was a simple grazing wound. In front of you are refuse everywhere, leading towards where the gunfire is coming from. There's refuse behind you, which you're able to take cover behind as well. But the main escape, the bridge, is damaged. You might be able to retreat and jump over it. I would just need an athletics check. But what are you going to do?
Can you describe the ambushers?
The ambushers themselves, you're not able to fully see. Roll a quick awareness for me. I want to see if you can see them in the flashes of gunlight. We're making this a difficulty. Oh, I was going to say 3. All right, you're able to make it, and you can shift 1 if you want.
Yeah, I definitely want to improve or gain information. I guess I need to know what exactly is attacking me.
In front of you, in the red flashes of light as they fire their las carbines at you, are what would look like Steel Legion soldiers. However, something's off about them. In your quick view of them, you're able to see some of them clearly don't have the proper aquila on their chest that most wear. They look like they're wearing a spiked star instead. And this would automatically snap in your head. These are Chaos Worshippers.
Yay! He is a heretic. Fucking piece of shit. All right. All right, so cool. Then I won't say anything because I don't think there's any benefit for me to do so. I'm simply going to, because I think it works kind of like D&D, if I remember correctly, we can do both a movement and an action.
Yes.
I'm going to move to take some degree of cover, which I understand is very limited. And then, actually, how far are they?
They're about 40 feet away. So it's still close range.
I'm going to move to some degree of cover because it's the intelligent thing to do. And then I'm going to take aim and fire at the first person that I can.
Okay. Now...
You said 40 feet?
40 feet, yeah.
I know the system works off meters, so it's well within 20 meters. I just wanted to make sure that that's what you meant.
Yes.
Okay.
It's still within range of you.
Okay.
Yeah, so you make it to cover. You're in about half cover. What is in front of you is a pile of just debris and rocks. Stones that have clearly fallen. And yeah, in the red light as they're firing, they're not really able to see you guys that well, despite you having flashlights, because complete darkness, someone with a flashlight, you just see the flashlight. So for the most part, they're inaccurate at best, but you're able to see them whenever they fire, which is quite often. So if you want to make an attack roll,
I would like to, but before I do that, I just need to know really quickly, remind me, what is... Oh, never mind. I know. Never mind. All right, so I'm going to make my attack roll.
All right.
On your mark, get ready. That is the worst roll all night! Did I roll with a... What do I have for a roll?
You just rolled badly. You just rolled very poorly. Luckily, poorly for you is still technically a hit.
Oh, God, that's horrible.
So they have a defense of 2, so you're able to actually hit them.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know what that means.
So, in Wrath and Glory, the damage is, you have your base damage, which is going to be 10. You rolled a Exalted Die or 6, which adds plus 2 damage.
I have a +1 erectile dysfunction.
Yes, that means extra damage die.
Okay.
Or extra die, I believe. Yeah, so you immediately do 12 damage to him. So let me check and see. He has a resilience of 5 in total, which means he more or less soaks 5 of that, and the rest go through. Now, in Wrath and Glory, or actually not Wrath and Glory, in Warhammer in general, a bolt gun is any type of bolt gun. You are basically firing a small, and by small I mean like this big. If it was an actual bolt gun, but bolt pistol, it's large. It is a rocket propelled grenade that you are firing. So tell me how this guy immediately does.
Incendiary round, more or less.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you're aiming for a kill shot, and so that's what I'm trying to do. Unfortunately, like you said, even though my lighting towards them is better than their lighting towards me, it's still not very good. So I'm aiming for like a chest shot or something like that. It's going to blow him apart from the chest. Unfortunately, I just barely missed, and I actually clip him right on his hip. However, it was like very, very much in the center of the leg, and it literally blows off the entire leg. Probably the whole groin and everything is blown off as well. So he's lying on the ground, screaming in pain as he's dying and bleeding out.
Nice.
No.
Okay. So immediately one of your attackers goes down in a screaming heap of blood, ichor, and gore. His friends aren't too happy with this and are going to take aim at the still exposed friends of yours.
I mean, friends.
Whose defense are 3.
I like drag. He's okay.
Did I roll that right?
Did
No, I
Larry
didn't. I
already
rolled
die,
wrong.
or is Larry in this group?
There you go. Larry died, sorry.
Ah, fucking Larry, man.
All right. So they miss your friends, although I think I have the wrong dice in there.
I miss my friends too.
Rest and pepperoni to your friends. All right. Yeah. So they miss your friends, and it is their turn. Now I'm gonna have you roll for your friends. They run to cover and immediately return fire with their bolt pistols. So if you could roll attack and damage for me, for them.
How many? Is it just one universal, or?
Yeah, because you have 4 plus you. I'm basically making you run a small squad at the moment.
No. Do you want me to do 4 individual attacks? For
Oh, no, just a 1.
One attack to represent them. Understood.
Nice. All right, roll damage. They still kill someone. A bolt round will just eliminate someone in light armor.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just funny. It's a 0, even though it's still 10.
Oh, I know, and it's hilarious. Yeah, no,
So going back to the other thing, just their AC was 3. I rolled a 5. There was some spread eagles with stars around them.
Yes.
Is there any shifting that can happen in combat? Or?
There is indeed combat shifting. You can shift into extra damage. And I'll share this for you as well. You get a whole extra damage die.
Oh. So how do you roll extra die in this scenario? Is there a macro for it, or?
In this scenario, in your weapons and combat sheet, you can move it up in the sheet itself. So
ED goes from 1 to 2 for that damage.
So ED is only for the attack itself. It would be ABD, or bonus die applied to attack bonus die.
So what I should have done is after my initial attack, clicks this and then rolled damage.
Yes.
And been disappointed with the result anyways.
Pretty much, yes.
But okay, cool.
But seeing as you didn't need that extra 2 anyways, it's just a nice extra.
Cool. I just want to know for the future.
Oh, yes. All right. Now, behind you, you're not able to tell where from. You hear the familiar snap of lasguns erupt behind you, rushing towards your friends. And this one's much more scattered, as it appears that they are at a run. And you hear one of your friends go down. Not in a dead way, but in a very injured and fighting with someone way. They're clearly being grappled at the moment by somebody. And it becomes your turn.
Do I have any clue which one of them went down? Or better yet, can I see who's still standing?
Yes, you're able. It's one of the 2 unnamed ones that went down just now.
Well, since they're unnamed, I don't give a fuck about them. Guard B can just eat it. So, of the people, how many opponents do we still have standing?
That you can see in front of you through the flashes, there are about 4 left.
Okay, yep. So I'm going to advance towards the position where that person went down, hopefully trying to stay behind whatever cover I can, even if it's lesser than what I currently have. I'm going to advance to get closer to lend aid in the future, and then take a shot at one of the standing ones.
Yeah. As you actually approach the person who has been down, you can see that through their chest is a bloody wound. And standing over them is somebody with a lasgun that has a bayonet attached, dripping with their blood. And that person is standing a good couple feet in front of you.
Cool. That's the person I'm shooting first. I'm going to shoot them, and then we'll do what I do next.
So, you rolled the complication.
I don't know what that means.
So, a complication is something bad happens.
No!
Unfortunately, you also missed this person standing in front of you.
I have any powers, any abilities? Oh, there's I have this ability. I can do it once per session. It's fuck you, Frank, and I succeed anyways.
All right. Well, sadly, I have the fuck you, Scott. I'm the GM.
It's not an alliteration. It doesn't work as well, you know?
Ooh, yeah.
It's not like fifth, you know? Like fifth is fun to say.
You're right. Everyone, please put your votes in now. Should I kill Scott right away?
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Now, I'm going to mention this now for the future. Whenever you roll a complication, if you actually succeeded in your roll, you still would have succeeded. Just something bad also happens. In this case, tell me what happened that you missed.
So I intended to just quickly, like I said before, I was going for a chest shot. Chest shots are nice because it's just it's clean. If you don't kill them immediately, they're going to be down for a while handling that situation. So I went for a chest shot, and that's what went horribly wrong. I don't know where you want to go with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you go for the chest shot, and as you pull the trigger, he actually begins to lunge towards you, attacking you with a melee attack, which I don't know if I have set up. Yes, I do. I called it a knife. I think he hits you. What's your defense?
2.
All right. So he definitely hits you, and he's going to roll damage. Now we take a look at your resilience. I think you're actually the first PC to take damage. All right.
So actually, that's 0 damage. What?
So you have 8 resilience, and he did 8 damage. You actually take shock from that because it matches your AC, basically. So I think it's...
So it doesn't work like DR where it reduces the amount by that amount?
No, they have to match or beat the number.
Okay.
So take a point of shock.
That's fine.
Which is basically, it's extra hit points, more or less.
I'm good.
Yeah. All right. So now this figure stands in front of you. He just hit you with the butt of his rifle in the sternum. Take a little bit of damage. Your turn.
I'm going to take the hit. And the other thing I wanted to do while I was shooting at him, but obviously things went awry. Mm-hmm. So probably with gasping through air gasping for air, as opposed to like firm and loud. I'm like, drug, drug, and then just try to get his attention for the down guy.
Yeah.
And now it's my turn?
Yes.
I thought that was my turn, failing miserably.
No, it's your turn now. He attacked you. That was his turn.
No, remember? I went over, I attacked, I rolled a 1, and things went horribly, and he attacked me as part of that.
Yeah, I'm saying that was his turn.
Oh, so it's back to me and not my friends?
No, your friends are acting with the other guys just because it's easier.
Okay, sorry. So it's just back and forth this way. I'm so sorry. The format changed slightly. So I will... I do not want to switch to a chainsword. That'd be terrible. Right? I'm just checking my skills.
Amazing.
No. Oh, what's the attribute for a chainsword?
Weapon skill.
Yeah, so no, bad. So is there a penalty for firing in melee?
Not with the pistol.
Okay. So it's one of those things like as I'm gasping and calling out for drag, I then just gonna, take like a couple steps backwards, and just like line up the shot. So it's literally like a step and a half back, and then it's like a lean back line up. I'm not like retreating or running away.
All right. You may fire.
Boom.
Ooh, all right. You hit him and you get a wrath point from it. So
5 extra.
You can definitely shift your die. You can also shift your extra die into something called glory, which is something very nice. And let me share this with you real quick. And glory points. Let me share that with you. Now you can increase the die pool. You can increase damage by 1. You can increase the severity of a critical hit, or you can seize the initiative. You did roll a critical hit on this, so roll your damage and then tell me what your critical was.
First of all, I'm supposed to shift stuff first. So how many can I shift over? Was it 2?
You can shift 1 to extra damage or 1 to glory.
Damage or glory? I don't know what glory is.
Shift both of those.
Yep.
You can shift one into glory and one into your extra damage.
One and one. Okay, I thought it was one over one. So one's going to ABD.
Mhm.
I'm rolling that, and then I'll do glory in a second.
All right. I mean, it's still 10 damage. You are going to down him.
Okay.
All right. So you rolled a critical. You tell me how you go.
So I'm not sure exactly what I could do with glory yet, but so I went for that same chest shot that I did last time. However, usually I go for like high in the chest. This time it's actually gonna be a little bit low. It's like sternum area, so it's like right above the gut. So when I hit him right there, you can imagine like the bullet just barely like penetrates through just underneath the chest cavity before it goes off. So it blows out his intestines are like spewed everywhere. It leaves a cavity there that then you see like hit the viscera that was his lungs and heart are now dripping into the cavity as he's collapsing over.
Delicious. I love it. All right. So, as you do that, Drag does run over and immediately starts to attempt to bandage your fallen comrade. You are able to hear the other two slowly firing back. And then you hear one of them just grunts, and then you hear the audible shuffle as they fall to the ground. Voirel begins to scream on the top of her lungs. You can hear her panicking as she blindly fires in front of her.
If I'm able to act, and she seems to be the one that's currently in the most dire strait, because obviously down person's not fighting, Drag is not fighting. That leaves two, and she's now one of the two.
Yeah,
one of the two now down.
She's one of the two.
Yeah. I'm gonna go and try to lend an assist. I don't know if I can see what's going on over there.
Yeah, she has her flashlight on. One of the flashlights, it like rolls over them, and you can tell she is behind some refuse next to the other downed person, and she's just reaching over, head covered, screaming on top of her lungs, firing just blindly.
Then I'm going to abandon cover for the moment because again, down comrade's more important than my own safety. I'm going to rush forward and just start trying to open fire on the target that has her in the panic.
Okay. Roll an attack roll.
Before I roll that attack roll, let's go back to the glory that happened last round.
Nice.
I understand there's something that can be saved for a later moment, but I don't understand.
Totally save your glory.
Yeah.
So I shared it with you on your screen.
I see adding glory, a single shifted exalted icon for test.
Move that page to the side.
Okay, I also see glory points, increased dive pool, increased damage, increased severity of a critical hit, or seize the initiative.
Yes.
So it's more or less one of those things I can do with glory. And this is for what? The session until it's used?
So glory points and wrath points reset at the end of every session. So it's a use it or lose
session
it.
or scene?
Session.
Cool, thank you.
So,
all right.
Yeah, use it or lose it.
All right, perfect. So I'm and you have to say that you're using it before you roll the die, I imagine.
Correct.
I'm not going to use it at this point.
Okay.
I'm just going to rush forward, abandoning cover to get closer up for a clean shot and take a shot because I don't want darkness or whatever to be in my limiting. Attack roll!
Nice, you hit again. So as the las bolts, you are able to shift into damage again. So as the las bolts patter about your feet, you raise your gun and you pull off another clean shot. This time taking the head straight off one of the assailants. There's only a few left now. Looks like two, including possibly a sergeant, who is going to fire back at you as you are exposed before you can get into cover. They've been holding their fire, waiting.
I'm known to expose myself.
Haha, this is true. Banned from Twitch. All right, so he's going to fire off with his las gun. If I can find, there it is. Let's find it. It's labeled autogun, but that's a lie. It's a las gun.
Hey, his name's Renegade Sergeant. His name's Renegade Sergeant.
What? Weird.
That's what his name says, Renegade Sergeant. Is that meta? It's the character just instantly see that appear before his eyes.
What? Weird. I'm going to increase his damage because you're metagaming.
No, what?
All right. Whoops. Boop, boop. And... all right, 7 damage. So he actually does not hurt you. He hits you, but tell me what's happening as you're diving into cover.
So it was literally one of those things where I rush forward, out of the corner of my eye, I literally see the movement and like the kind of the auto gun like whipping around to aim at me. And it's one of those, again, it's not a matter of necessarily being scared of it. It's just, you need to live to be successful in the name of, the glory. So I literally, as I say out of the corner of my eye, I do that, like jump to the side, pull that last shot. I usually go for the chest. I miss the chest, hit the side of the head, blowing it clean off as I hit the ground with a hard, like, oof, and roll behind cover, just barely having the shots like grazing my armor. Nice. And like hitting, and like I imagine flesh wounds, but nothing that actually harms me.
Yeah. And yeah, you're able to make it into cover. And as you pull off that last shot, everything goes silent. No more lasgun fire over your head. Voirel is still
clear. It's not because my character's badass. It's literally lucky shots. It's literally just like he just happens to be catching some really shitty fighters off guard. It is not because he's that good.
Yeah. Yeah, and Voirel, despite no more incoming fire, she's still screaming. She's now pulling the trigger of a gun that is no longer firing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If I'm able to act again, there's the sergeants there, and one other opponent, right?
Yes, but for some reason they have stopped shooting.
All right. I have a feeling I think I know what's happening with her, but there's more pressing matters at the moment. Everybody seems like they stopped shooting. I don't want to let the opportunity pass by me. Can I see the other light armored person that isn't the sergeant?
No. Make an awareness check.
Okay.
Okay, you hit spot on with total of 4. You can see the one person, not the sergeant, the one remaining person running through the hallway in the darkness. They are clearly retreating.
Oh, okay. So I mean, like I said, I think I know what's going on with her. That one's retreating. She's freaking out. What's the sergeant doing?
Also retreating. You actually don't even see him.
Damn it. Okay, but I can see the other guy retreating.
Yeah.
Is he still within 40 meters?
Yeah, you can take a pot shot at him.
Okay, I don't know. It's quite a pock shot. I'm gonna aim. Sorry, I'm at 20 meters.
If you do aim, that is actually a ability you can use.
Mm-hmm.
Which gives you a bonus. Let me find it real quick. All right. Nope, that's not it. Combat options. So aiming, you can sacrifice your move and gain 1 dice on a ranged attack.
I add that to ED?
Mm-hmm.
Not AP, right? Yeah, no, ED.
Yep. AP is armor piercing.
Yep. So I'm going to do that. It's one of those things where I see everything going on. I have in the back of my mind what's going on over there. I know that's happening there. I, in theory, have one more ally on names that's up and about, but probably just can't perceive them at the moment. So I'm just going to be like, fuck it. It's like, if I'm going to fight this guy, So I'll take my shot. Boop.
You hit. Roll damage.
And that's just
I don't even need you to roll damage. I just like making you roll damage.
Boop. Yeah.
All right. So...
and this one, I imagine, is once again, I always try to aim for the torso because it's an easier shot. I imagine it's like lower back, right above the coccyx sort of area, and literally blow out the base of the spine. So he's still alive for a while.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a grenade going off in your stomach. Yeah. So as you hit this last target, his chest bursts open, and he was clearly wearing a vest of some sort as a secondary explosion goes off, clearly a bandolier of grenades, and you can hear before you the collapse of the tunnel that they were in, that they were escaping through.
Okay.
Voirel still screaming, still pulling her trigger. Yeah.
Yep. So I want to make my way over to her. However, I'm not dumb. As I make my way cautiously over to where it is that I kind of just want to get her in my line of sight so I can see her. Whatever direction she's looking at, I want to, again, cautiously, is one of those and then look up in the direction where she is to see if I see anything there.
You don't see anything there.
It's kind of what I was
make yourself known to her.
I do so not immediately. It's one of those, I don't have to roll a stealth check or something like that, but I'm going to try to, like, she's lying on the ground, I imagine, shooting upwards. I'm going to try to go around above her head and get close before she notices me. And close enough that, because I understand that the weapon does not seem to be discharging at the moment. You never know if it was jammed and it has like another round inside of it. So I want to, like, as I approach, make sure that she doesn't notice me, so I'm close enough that I can grab the gun and move it to the side before I get hit with a straight bullet.
As soon as you attempt to move up to her and grab that gun, she wheels around and actually points the gun at you and is still pulling the trigger. And you just hear the telltale of a empty gun.
Okay. All right. So I guess the gun is not dangerous. So standing over her, I'm just gonna look down at her. It's not quite. It's a borderline pity in my face, and I'm just gonna say to her, "What's your name, Borel? Borel, snap out of it now!" And just try to, like, hope words work. I don't know if I have to
roll intimidation.
Yeah. Do I get my +1 for intimidation checks, including interaction attacks? Which this is okay. So once again, I go over to intimidation and I add 1 to bonus die. Oh no! I actually have it always on there. That's right. I did that before. So I'm just gonna roll this.
Yeah, you pass.
Okay.
Difficulty was a 5, so you can shift if you want.
I actually want to shift to quality. I really want her to, like,
Yeah. So how do you snap her out of it?
So I imagine at first I look down at her and like shout to her, like just start raise my voice, try to get. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna go down and just, like, 3 knuckles to the forehead. Wake up.
Okay.
So
you 3 knuckles forehead her, and her eyes kind of just glaze over, and she just drops her gun and just begins to sob.
As she starts to sob, she's going to pull herself together. I'm going to leave it alone for the moment and make sure that everybody else is still alive and what condition they're in before I come back to her.
All right. The person that Drag was working on is no longer alive, unfortunately. Of the 10 that you went down with, only 3 have survived.
Her, Drag, and myself?
That's right.
Okay. So it's one of those things where I look over the body. As the other guy said, mourn the dead later on. Now's not the time. They've done glorious work in killing chaos. So glorious work in killing chaos. So I'm actually just going to lean down and grab, like, the clip or whatever it is that was off of his weapon. These two, do they have specialties of any sort, any extra equipment that, without searching their pockets, that I know that they would have?
Not that you can tell.
Okay, I'm not going to go searching pockets of them, but I will grab, like, the extra weapon or whatever it is. I'm definitely going to need one for her in a moment. So I'll go up to Drag. Everything so far was done voicelessly. I look to Drag and say, she's in a bit of a state.
Yeah, so you say she's in a bit of a state, and Drag kind of just looks at you and says, we all are. You're at least holding yourself together.
I just let that one slide and say, we should probably make sure that she's going to be useful.
Yes, we probably should, but she was a coward in the face of duty.
Just because she was a coward doesn't mean she doesn't have use.
He kind of furrows his brow at you and says, Luther, we are commissar. We treat cowards as such.
Yes?
If you do not report this, I will be forced to.
Has anybody said anything about not reporting? There is still one left. While you were down there failing, I assured that there was only one left that we're hunting.
He looks at you and slowly stands, and he chambers a bolt into his weapon, and he looks at you. If you won't put down cowardice, then You forced me to do it.
I don't think you understands the words that I'm saying.
She is of no use.
She's going to die. There is no getting around that. She's broken. There's no getting around that. However, there is an opportunity where she can regain a small amount of glory by throwing herself, not in front of a bullet, but throwing herself in front of the cause.
I like it. And on that line, I think we're going to go to break. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed your break. I certainly did. I got some H2O and tried to kill Scott. I rolled this time. He didn't get ice cream. He's lying.
I don't have ice cream. Like, it's not in my fridge. I finished it this morning.
Rip. Ice cream for breakfast. That's heresy.
Well, ice cream with breakfast. I had eggs.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Other food first, and when I was done eating, I was like, I said coffee. I want something cold and sweet, and so I. Anyways, let's get back to Warhammer.
Eggs and ice cream. That is disgusting.
No, eggs were done being. Eggs were consumed, and plate was put away, and I was like, I could go for some more, and so I grabbed the thing out of the freezer and put the spoon in it. I let it sit out for like 3 or 4 minutes so it gets melty enough that you can eat it comfortably and not like I'm chewing on ice. And then I eat my.
All right. Well, I'm going to Cold Stone after this episode. But
yeah, it's closed in the East Coast.
It might be close here. I'll find out. But let's jump back into it. You awake in your bunk many years later, aboard the rogue trader Vandervulf. The ship itself is a nice old ship. You know a little bit about it. And that's just through hearsay and the like. It's a nice rogue trader, a rogue trader being a ship that isn't part of the Imperial Navy or the Imperial Merchant Marine. They work for themselves, basically. And the captain of the ship has been fairly friendly towards you, to the point where she has invited you to multiple of her public dinners, which still have a couple hundred people aboard, but you yourself, you're basically part of the higher aristocracy here. What brought you aboard the Vandervulf?
What, am I aboard the ship?
Yeah, what brought you aboard the ship?
I'm the captain's jester. I go up there and I'm like, "Marr, marr, 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 marr."
This doesn't surprise me.
No. What brought me aboard there? I imagine it's when I'm put in charge of a task, probably small groups, not large groups. I have a really good success rate, and so whatever. I don't know exactly what the mission is on the ship right now. So they were like, "Oh, this person would probably bring odds." My apologies. Let me rephrase this. When I'm put in charge of a task, even tasks that probably have a low percentile chance of success, I tend to make those successful anyways. Like I find success where there otherwise could have been failure. Not guaranteed, but the odds were not in my favor. And probably the reason why is because of my uncouth methods compared to other commissar to accomplish my tasks. Uncouth, but still not heretical. Not some more rigid ones might think that way, but nonetheless has not been proven as of yet. And so this ship probably was lacking in some areas, and they thought I would be a good fit to maybe find success where there otherwise hasn't been some.
Okay. So, as you're going towards subsector territory on the Imperial frontiers, through the Dark Imperium, a area of space which does not see the Emperor's light, where after a great battle several centuries ago, on the Battle of Cadia, the 13th Black Crusade by Abaddon the Despoiler, tore the Empire in half, where now 500 million worlds of the Empire are in an area where the Astronomicon, the Emperor's Light, cannot guide ships. An area that is more and more being taken over by chaos, by other aliens and Xenos forces. For one reason or another, you are heading towards subsector Temitori, far to the frontiers, a subsector which was in the past millennia or two colonized and slowly growing into a proper imperial system before the Great Rift opened up. Now, you would know yourself just from stories and the like about the ship, the Vandervulf. It used to be a Imperial Navy ship. It used to be a combat vessel and very good at its job. And just from things that you have heard around the ship from other people of your ranking, because you're fairly high on the social ladder, even as a junior commissar, this ship lost the battle, and it cost somebody somewhere a lot. And the old captain was punished for that. And the current captain is the daughter of the captain that was punished. You don't know what happened to the old captain. No one really is talking about it. But now that his daughter's in charge, she is basically saying, I'm working for myself and no longer for the Empire of Man.
I mean, isn't that kind of a bad thing?
No. She's still working with the Empire of Man, but she's more working for her own money, her own profit.
So she's a private sector that works closely with the public?
Yes.
With the military? So paramilitary group, there we go.
More or less. Rogue traders are literally rogue trader empires and dynasties throughout the Imperium. And it's one of those things of, hey, this isn't allowed, but we're totally allowing.
Okay.
Now, why are you being sent out to the frontier? What job awaits you out there?
I honestly haven't the slightest.
Scott, we went over this.
I honestly don't know. It was like 6 weeks ago.
So,
it was like 6 years ago. Like I got sent an email by
I
some
reminded
guy
you
that I later
20
found that was
minutes
Frank.
ago. We talked about this 20 minutes ago, Scott.
I had to pee.
Yeah. So Luther himself is being sent out as a junior commissar. Close. As a junior commissar, going towards the subsector capital of Tor Primaris as a adjutant to the commissar assigned to the subsector. So you're not a full commissar yet. You're still in training, and this is going to give you some actual experience. But for whatever reason, you're being sent off to a far-flung, out of nowhere place, middle of nowhere. No one really cares about this place, at least to your knowledge. I'm sure somebody does.
I care.
I don't. Now, what do you do aboard the ship? You have more than enough funds to live comfortably. You don't need a job.
No. It's I imagine literally my job to one degree or another, because this is a rogue vessel in the sense that it does not directly serve the military. However, the codes and edicts and whatnot, the way of life that is supposed to be pushed forward is still something that is very important to my character. I imagine that he spends, because he is good at speaking with others, even if he's not like verbose, like I in real life am. So he probably spends a lot of time actually amongst the social groups, rubbing elbows and the like, but not just because he's trying to make friends, but also because from that position he has influence and he can influence things in the favor of the God Emperor. So
okay, and how are
it's like subtle little things where it's like if we can just nudge a decision in this direction, that's a good thing.
Okay, so you're really not being super overt about your actions aboard the ship. You're not going out and executing people or holding trials for not being super faithful in the Imperium.
Well, I mean, it's simple fact of the matter is this is not an Imperium vessel, right? So that kind of display of authority would get me boosted off of the ship or killed myself, rather than being able to direct the ship to being more beneficial to the Imperium, even if they don't realize that that's what's happening.
Yeah, and you've been aboard the ship for about half a year now on just traveling through warp space. Warp, of course, being the main travel. It's sometimes called the Immaterium. It's not like in Star Trek or the like. It's you open up a dimensional rift and you go through this non-space, as some people will call it, null space, or the like, purple space in some cases, because, fun fact, chaos is purple. Don't know why.
That's my favorite color.
Mine too.
Oh,
man, you're gonna make such a good Slaneshi cultist.
We should revel in the purple together.
No. I thought about wearing purple today, but I decided against it. But yeah, what have you done on these 6 months? If you're living fairly comfortably, you have more than enough funds to get you there.
Literally, as I was just saying, rubbing elbows, so on and so forth. Building like a contacts list and whatnot amongst them. But I don't really see myself as doing
anything really
work or anything like that. And I don't really see myself as being like I imagine if there's an area for like firearms training, stuff like that, I would always, because I am not technically a full-fledged commissar, not commissary. I would continue for, in case there are any future tests and whatnot, need to make sure that I'm always on the top of my game. I was never the head of sharpshooting school, so I need to constantly train to make sure that my capacity to take aim and fire under duress is always at its peak.
Yeah. Now, definitely for your weapon, bolt rounds are fairly rare, so you're probably not training with that one.
That's fine.
They can still make those. It just costs a little extra. And the common currency aboard rogue trader ships and the like is something called Throne Gelt. And it's mostly widely accepted through the Imperium just because all rogue traders use it. Everyone needs rogue traders. But yeah, in the 6 months that you've been aboard the ship, it's been fairly peaceful until recently. As soon as you entered subsector Temitori, things have started to go a little awry. The last 3 major stops that the ship itself has made have been aborted in one way or another as soon as you entered real space. One of the planets was in outright rebellion against the Imperium. Another was conquered by orcoid races, the greenskins, one of your hated enemies. And And you know just from your own personal knowledge, as soon as a world falls to the orcs, it tends to stay that way unless you exterminate the planet. Another world has fallen completely to chaos itself. And because of that, the Vandervulf is running relatively low on supplies. You've been able to rub elbows well enough with the aristocracy aboard the ship. You are one of the people of that. And one of the algae plant's managers aboard the ship is basically saying, we're not able to produce enough, we're cutting funds, and we're splicing a little more into the food than we would like. That's not very healthy. They're basically putting sawdust in the bread.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how your reaction to that would be. As, well, you're not eating any of the algae-based food or any of the neutrino bars. You're eating relatively well. You're still eating real meat, real bread, real food. Granted, in lesser portions now, but still there.
Okay.
Today of all days is actually a very special day, and you would know right off the bat exactly why. The ship's been running relatively low on fuel recently, and the last 3 stops they were unable to refuel. One of the tech majors is aboard the ship during one of the dinners. Of course, they don't eat, they are machine men. This Majors himself, you would recognize him during one of the dinners. You would recognize him anywhere aboard the ship, as he is cloaked in red, and he has a few mechadendrites just sticking out of his back. His voice itself is a crackle, and barely human anymore, as it comes from a Vox channel or a speaker where his mouth used to be.
Okay.
And during one of these dinners, he was mentioning and basically pleading, saying the machine spirit of the ship is growing angry. There are rolling blackouts in the lower quarters where the slaves are kept. And no matter what, the machine spirit of the ship must be appeased. And to do that, the refueling must happen at the next stop.
Okay.
And yeah, this of course is during one of the earlier dinners a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're traveling through the warp space, you finally exit. Finally, you get that stomach-turning feeling of going back to real space. As time goes on, you notice more and more people preparing. Your area of the ship, fairly nice. People don't really care about this. They either have no intention of watching this festival that is about to happen, or really taking any part. They are going to continue with their hedonistic ways of just having fun. Now, is Luther interested in the festival or the refueling process at all?
I mean, I imagine as a rule of thumb, no, not at all. However, because of the fact that it's becoming such a critical thing for the safety and the success of this vessel, he is understanding that this is something that he's going to have to, oversee to one degree or another. And so I suppose this festival or whatever, I imagine beforehand or at the beginning of, I would approach the captain to inquire as to how it is that I may be of use, what services I can provide.
Now, unfortunately for Luther himself, he is only a junior commissar. So you're not able to get to the captain directly, but you're able to get to her firsthand.
I thought I was friends with her. I thought she invited me places.
She invited you to
other people weren't looking.
And that was it. There were hundreds of other people. She did it as
She's like,
a
there are
polite thing.
500 people on this ship, and I invited 375 of them here. That's how special you are.
Now, one of the lieutenants from the main bridge, Grigory Lupul, he's one of your contacts. You've been rubbing elbows with him. He's about your age. How old is your character?
Give me 1 second. What did you say his name was?
Grigor Lupul.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down. Grigor Lupul. I got that. Sure. Everything's phonetic. Hold on. Age. Where is that written?
Just give me a quick estimate.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the characters. I don't know what age a commissar becomes a full commissar. So
20, 30, 40, 50, whenever they actually get promoted.
It's like I got my associate's degree at 53. I'm proud of myself.
Good for that person.
Yeah, that might be me one day. Really. So I would say probably about 25 then.
Okay. Yeah, this person's about your age, maybe a couple years older. And yeah, he's been rubbing elbows with you. And as the festival's being set up and he actually rings you on your personal Vox communicator, basically your personal phone, and actually invites you to a party that the lower ranking officers are having.
Okay. I'll take the opportunity to rub elbows.
Yeah. So
I got a thing for weenuses.
Nice. Now, the part of the ship that you're in, the ship itself, I should explain, is a massive ship. The crew itself is only about 26,000 people, with about 3,000 passengers aboard. You yourself, you are relatively important. You've actually been assigned your own savior pod, which is basically a life pod, which, hey, good for you. If something happens, you can escape. But even your bedroom is super nice. You're still in.
You cut for a second. Super what?
Your bedroom is actually pretty super nice.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, what? Did you hear me?
I can now.
Or am I cutting out? I can't tell.
Okay, so it's not just me. I thought it was my internet.
Oh no.
Okay.
Am I good now? Good. All right. Internet, no break, please. All right. So your bedroom itself is actually pretty nice. It's instead of the usual 5x3 bunk that most people have, you have a good solid 10 by 10 foot room, which is more than enough.
Okay.
I assume you heard me, or I can't tell if I cut out.
No. Yeah, I that sounds luxurious for what I would expect.
Yeah. And the party that he invited you to is around where a couple of lesser people are living, but it's a nice little bar. Clearly meant for only shipboard personnel. And only shipboard personnel of a certain caste, which is the officer caste. But you've been able to rub elbows with this guy well enough that, hey, you got invited to it. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're visiting this bar, tell me, what is Luther wearing for that and the like?
What am I wearing for to go to the visit?
Yeah, are you wearing your regular uniform?
I imagine I'm wearing my regular uniform. I imagine I don't really own much outside of my regular uniform. Aside from maybe if it's not like a super official day, I might have like my white tank top underneath, be one of the ones that are graying a little bit. But if it's an official meeting, I wear the new ones. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. So you're wearing your one single outfit that you own, which is basically your nice little trench coat, your commissar uniform.
Have you ever seen the B movie, the Jerry Seinfeld movie, where it's he goes through his closet and it's yellow and black, yellow and black, yellow and black, yellow and black. Oh, black and yellow. Let's change it up.
Oh, no, never saw it. But yeah, you're able to make your way to this bar, no problem. Not too far away, there's actually the beginning of the procession for whatever is going on. Is your character at all interested in how the ships are refueled or the like?
Actually, I would be. Just
Okay.
because that kind of knowledge could be useful.
Yeah, just roll me a quick check for that. I'm going to say Scholar. Or actually, Tech. Scholar or Tech, whichever one you feel.
Scholar's a higher number, so I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah, so you've studied it. All right. Okay. You know a little bit about it. You know that for the most part, the Adeptus Mechanicus, the machine men of the Empire, are the ones that take care of this the most. They tend to keep everyone else a very long arm's reach away from it. For the most part, yeah, that's most of the information you have on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not much information I can work with. So.
Yeah, I know. You rolled a 2.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those, while I'm down there and I'm kind of with the other people and so on and so forth, I suppose I would go to whoever it is I would have the best connection with. Maybe it's
Gregor.
Gregor, and the people he's dealing with. And yeah, after a little bit of basic schmoozing or chatting or whatever, I would eventually kind of like bring the conversation to bear in a way to be productive and be like, Gregor, I suppose there's no... we could have all the dinners we'd like. We could drink all the ale that we can find, but that doesn't deny the fact. Sorry, that doesn't obscure the fact that the ship is running low, supplies are running thin, and those that are required to make it function are dying. This refueling is imperative, to say the least. I need to know in what way, if all possible, I can be of aid.
He looks at you and kind of raises a metal stein in his hand as he just takes a quick sip of the amasec or the alcohol that he is drinking. And kind of just chuckles at you as he just shakes his... My friend, there's not much we can do except to relax and let everything take its course. The Emperor will protect, of course. But for now, there's very little we can do. Except we'll drink more while the taps are open.
Oh god, this person annoys the shit out of me. Like, my character's not the kind of person that wants action in the sense of, ah! But he's the kind of person that wants to do things, to be like yes. Everything happens for a reason because I made it happen.
Yeah, so he actually puts his arm around you and points with his cup towards a cast screen that's on the wall, which is basically a TV. And you're able to see from the screen on the wall the procession itself. And you see, in very grainy footage, 6 figures holding what look like 6 silver caskets walking down the main thoroughfare of the ship, which is basically the main road of the ship that goes from bow to stern. And he looks at you and says, they will do their part and we must do ours.
There is a distinct difference between the parts that they're doing and the part that's happening here.
If you want, I can volunteer you for this.
He
kind of chuckles like morbidly at that.
He thinks for a moment, then looks him dead in the eye and says, then do it.
He kind of just laughs and looks at the other junior officers around you and just says, you hear that, everybody? He wants to volunteer to the sacrifice.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Exactly. Everyone else kind of just laughs at that. And he turns towards you and says, these men, they are not alive. And if they were, they won't be for much longer. You see, when refueling the ship, you're land-based, it is okay. You're not a voidsman like me. I was born here. Yes, when refueling the ship, we open up the warp core itself. And these men walk in there. most do not make it more than a few feet before they die. They must deliver these caskets to the core itself, and if they do not, we send more. But one almost always makes it. And that is all we need. And there's nothing we can do.
It seems horribly inefficient.
Yes. Welcome to 40K.
Technology sucks in the future.
Very much. Do you know how guns are loaded on the ship? There are slaves loading these giant shells into cannon breaches.
I mean, listen. I'm not saying I want automation to take away all the jobs. I'm just saying automation taking away some jobs isn't so bad.
If you kind of mention that, could just casually mention, machines do not work down there.
No. My character doesn't say that.
Okay.
He just one of those things where he realizes that he more or less just got schooled. Like this person, like sherpered me into an opportunity to look like an ass, and then sherpered me through it to make me look more like an ass. And I'm fully aware of what just happened. And then I say, so my actual response is that I guess they have their part to play, and we have ours.
That is right. And our part is to have fun and to drink.
I will put on a fake smile and say, then to fun and to drink. And raise like a glass from, I don't know if there's like a robo babe walking by with...
Yeah, no, there's probably a servitor walking around clumsily with a tray.
Mm-hmm. And so I'll grab and raise and drink and have fun.
Yeah. So while you're mingling, where are you trying to get out of these people as you mingle and rub elbows?
It's literally one of those things. Again, consistently the whole shtick is to make sure that I just like burn down bridges by looking like an ass just now, or maybe it was comical in a positive way because they know that I'm a land-based person. Like you just kind of said. But the whole idea is to make sure that I'm always able to ingratiate myself to these kind of events, so that when important things happen, I'm able to nudge them. I thought that maybe this was an opportunity, but unfortunately, my land-based self-ignorance led me astray on that. So
roll me persuasion. Let's see how well you do with these people.
Sure. Me not actually good at this. I roll 4 dice. I'm not bad. Hey!
All right. So you pass, and at the same time, you rolled a complication. So you're able to actually gain a couple more contacts aboard the ship this way. However, something bad happens while you're in the bar. What is it that happens?
Well, let's see. Something bad happens while I'm in the bar. I'll say that, remember before you were asking, so I'm not nostalgic, and I certainly don't write down my contacts with an ink pen and a piece of paper into a little black book. I have my tablet or whatever it is, and I keep my notes in there. Unfortunately, at one point in time, I was, whacking weenuses with somebody else. I left the tablet sitting there. I was turning and engaging this one person in conversation. The people next to me were rowdy, and whether it be positive or negative doesn't matter. Anyways, they ended up putting their drink onto the tablet, cracking the screen or whatever a little bit, and spilling some drink onto it, causing little frits.
Ooh,
now it's not fully
or
functioning.
data slate.
Yeah. Now it's like doesn't fully function.
Yeah, so your data slate is slightly damaged, so you're not able to use the keyboard on it properly, and some parts are hard to read. Luckily, you can still scroll.
The S key doesn't work.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, I know the S key. Like the only thing worse than the S key is the A key. Like,
oh no, my spacebar sometimes wonks out.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah, so as you're schmoozing, you gain a couple more contacts in the junior officers. What are their functions aboard the ship? You tell me.
The other junior officers?
Yep, 2 of them.
Let's see. One is there specifically for my sexual pleasure.
Okay.
And the other one to be my footrest when I sit.
All right.
No, I honestly, I don't know what the various jobs of the ship are, but I would guess. I guess one of them literally is because they're I don't know. There's
Think of small city
one
functions.
One of them is being more overt in what it is that you're talking about junior officers being like commissars as well, or
No, because you're a junior commissar, you're not like full rank. You're still basically a junior officer, yeah.
yeah. But are these other people commissars as well, or are they just people? That
No, they are just people. They're like lieutenants, ensigns.
Yeah. One is literally one of the backup pilots. I don't know how many pilots it takes to fly the ship, but this is certainly not one of the primary ones. So it's like a secondary pilot or tertiary pilot. The other one is actually like a what's the word I'm looking for? Not quite secretary, but the person that kind of like the assistant to
Quartermaster.
Yeah, the quartermaster, I guess, for the ship. So they handle like, a lot
so
of
the quartermaster adjutant, the person that's assisting the actual quartermaster to make sure supplies and like, the person that one of the backup pilots, they actually don't help fly the ship. They're one of the dropship pilots that basically helps shuttle things. So these two people would actually be very close to each other in just work in general. You enter their little conversation that they're having, and they openly have it in front of you, and they're talking relative logistics of what's happening aboard this ship at the moment. And the quartermaster adjutant kind of turns to you and says, well, it's at least we're getting fed here. Did you hear about the riots below decks?
just now.
Oh. Yeah, word doesn't really travel up here that much, unless you're working in the enforcers and the like. But, hey, yeah, food riots and all that. And luckily, we have a couple people down there that are volunteering from other travelers like yourself. But, yeah, the situation is slowly getting worse. And the pilot kind of turns to you and just chuckles. Well, as long as I don't have to deal with it and I can still fly. Well, I would like to actually fly again. It's been a while. Simulations just don't do it for me.
Kind of nod to that, and I'm like, and I'll actually think for a second. I say the enforcers. Are there any of them that? And I kind of like thinking, like gesturing to the rest of the group out here. Any of them that happen to spend their time here?
They both kind of look around a bit. No, they're all busy right now. Making sure that the festivities don't get interrupted. We also have a little bit of a guard company on board, not a full regiment, just a little bit. So they're helping out. And the quartermaster turns to you and kind of chuckles and says, "How have you been eating recently? Have we been feeding you well enough?"
I'll survive.
I hope so. We've already lost a couple hundred people.
What is the next task that we're supposed to be accomplishing? While I have no problem with slaves dying, there is a concern of them dying in such great numbers and so consistently.
Oh, our next task, we're going to dock at one of the dockyards, get emergency supplies aboard, and because we're here, the captain's actually opened taps and is giving us double rations for the day aboard the ship. It's a good life today.
That doesn't help with the scenario that I was just describing.
Oh, it does. We're going to dock, we're going to load emergency food on, we're going to refuel, and we're going to be fine.
Does the situation not seem stable? Or does it seem stable to you?
Seems stable enough. As soon as they get the food on the lower decks, we'll be fine.
My character is once again a little bit perplexed because, again, he's a landfaring person, like you said. It's like the idea of slaves dying by the droves is like he doesn't care about their lives.
Yeah.
But it's like this doesn't sound efficient. This sounds like the ship needs to have some sort of restructuring of its priorities to have things function better. And if that restructuring includes, eat one less piece of bread, everybody. Like,
Yeah, which is actually
It'll stop
most
rioting.
people have been on half rations
Yeah.
for like a couple months.
So I'm just trying to like contemplate the scenario as a whole. Why is there so much of a struggle? Do we just not have jobs? Like, is there?
No,
is
there's
that where
just
we're
not enough
coming?
food.
But like you can just buy food, right? Like when you stop here, you can like refuel all your food, and then enough to have like your emergencies and so on and so forth until the next jump. Unless we don't know where we're going, and then you're just kind of like burning stuff until eventually figure out where you might be going. So do they have like a course? Do they have like a purpose, or is it just kind of like,
Oh yeah.
let's drift around and see what happens?
Oh no, this is a trade trip. They always have a course. They're going to pick up supplies here, then they're going to pick up the trade goods, and then they're going to fly to the next course, or wherever they're needed next.
Okay.
So basically, there's always a plan. It's just most of the junior officers aren't going to know what that plan actually is. Only the captain really is going to know. Sometimes there's not a plan. The captain is actually just flying around in circles. But for the most part, Natalia Decan has been a relatively good captain to these people. The main issue is the shipboard food processing plants and the like have malfunctioned, and they aren't able to make enough food aboard the ship, which is why it's causing so many issues.
Okay.
So you would be able to gauge from the two people that you're talking with. No, there's the plan aboard the ship for getting emergency supplies to immediately get everyone up to the regular rations again. And then they're going to stay for as long as it takes to fully repair the ship.
Oh, okay. So because of the elongated stay, it kind of like resolves the situation, brings back to zero. So I guess it was that. I guess the way it would role play out is my character kind of coming to the realization of, oh, this isn't a quick dock like we've done in the past. This is meant to be an extended dock and so on and so forth.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so he would just like almost like staring off into space, like consuming that information and like nodding. And they'd be like, well, thank you. And then I guess the next thing he would want to do, because obviously like, because there's nothing really he can get out of these people that's significant now. It's just kind of building people for when points in time come that he needs to actually act. The next thing he would do is actually specifically go and try to find some of these enforcers, the ones that oversee the down below. The people that aren't necessarily as important in this scenario, but certainly can be in others, and see if he can track them down and, once again, kind of
rub elbows with them. Roll me a quick awareness check as you're leaving this party. Nice. You rolled a complication. I'm going to decide for you what it is. So yeah, you don't notice anything major as you are leaving the bar itself. Everyone seems relatively calm. You notice like the TV flickers a bit and turns off, and the ship logo turns on. But it's probably just because the procession's through there. You weren't really paying attention to it anyways. And yeah, you leave the bar, you head down towards where you assume the Enforcer's main office is going to be. And just as you're walking there, people are still crowded around. There's people dancing, people partying, and the like. The main Enforcer headquarters is in still a nice area, not as nice as your area, but it's in the middle of the habitation area for them. So you have your habitation deck, and it's a relatively open area with nice 10-foot high ceiling of just metal everywhere. And you're able to make it there. There's a couple officers from the guardsman company that's traveling aboard the ship, just working, doing paperwork and the like.
Okay, so I'm going to go about, and I don't think anybody here I'd necessarily interact with because nothing's really jumping out at me. Anyways, maybe this is an area of the ship that I'm not super familiar with, and so I get more familiar with it. But I honestly, at this point, I'm like, I'm not really seeing anything that's, and I've probably been through here in the past and thought the same before. And just always trying to keep my mind active and alert and questioning why was I even stationed here? You know what I mean? Like I'm somebody that's meant to be put inside places of action to handle the troops, to keep the morale high, and to punish those that are fallen from the path of glory and success for the name of the God Emperor. Why the fuck was I stationed here?
Yeah, because that's one of the things. Of why were you sent to the frontier to work for a planetary commissar?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Well, exactly. It's one of those things too, and so I imagine that I've kind of like thought this to a small degree before, but like this is one of those times that's really kind of kicking in. Like what have I done? Who have I caused some sort of ire or whatever it is? And I'm really just like analyzing the situation more critically than ever before, almost having like a really negative like epiphany moments, like what is going on. And I imagine maybe even getting a bit of a mind to start inquiring to those that would have answers, like whether it be the person I'm about to go answer to, or whoever it was that sent me here. Like, dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because Luther yourself, you would know this is the last leg of your journey here. You are
cabin fever,
Yeah, so it's like I need to get off that ship. But yeah, there's a couple low-ranking officers from the guardsman company here. They're wearing blue tartan sashes. One of them is wearing a bunny hat with a little fuzzball on top. But they're generally dressed in military uniform, bluish khakis.
Could you describe that one more again? What was it?
So they're in bluish khakis, these two officers that are in the headquarters at the moment. They have a tartan sash across their chests, and both of them are wearing small berets with a little fuzzball on top.
You said beret. I'm sorry, because it got a little staticky right for a second. I thought you said bunny hat. I was like...
Definitely not a bunny hat. I said a bonny hat, but it's close enough
bunny.
to a...
Okay. I was like, a bunny hat? What
a bunny hat. They're the furries, guys. They're heretics.
Or maybe that's what 40K became. That's cool. They're here to judge.
They aren't space wolves.
So, all right, cool. So I go about, and again, I don't think I necessarily need to approach any of these people either. Like I said, I'm getting a mind for it, but I imagine it's more of a strongly worded message sent, because you can do long range communicate, right?
Yes, you would actually need a psyker for that. A psyker is able to basically send a instantaneous message through the galaxy. It's very dangerous in the Dark Imperium to do such a thing. But yeah, they're able to send that psychic message out. I don't know if you know any aboard the ship, though.
Yeah, I also don't know if that's the approach I would take either. Does seem. It also reminds me of Chronicles of Riddick. You know what I mean? Wait, was that no?
Great.
Yeah, Chronicles of Riddick. Yeah, not Pitch Black. Yep. So which is super creepy. But anyways, so who exactly is it on the ship that I'm responding to? Is a commissar on the ship, or is it where I'm being?
It's on the planet where you're going to.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna have to allow my fury to build up inside and with actual effort now maintain a stoic face.
Yeah, and are you listening to the two guys who are just doing the paperwork, or are you just kind of ignoring them?
I mean, I imagine half listening, not like concentrating, but if anything like slips through, sure. But yeah. So it's more of a check of mindfulness and a check of actual like attempting to listen.
Yeah, just make a difficulty 2 awareness. Let's see what you can pick up from them. All right. So you do pass. You're not able to shift it though. But the good news is, yeah, they actually mentioned one of the cargo vessels from Tor Primaris is actually almost docked. They're docking right now. And luckily, they already have supplies about to be offloaded. And the main procession of guard troops are already down there to kind of just greet them and help them out as best as they can. But hey, the ship's almost refueled, which is even better.
This is the ship that I'm going to be on?
Possibly. Though most likely not, as this is just a cargo tender. You have not been told when you're going down.
I'm actually curious you said it's almost been restocked. It just arrived, right?
Yeah.
I'll actually inquire. One, both, whatever. Excuse me.
Oh, hi. What is it?
The ship that's just arrived. I overheard.
Yes, it's a quite a light freighter. It's carrying emergency supplies, medical, and food.
Is that all?
For the most part.
Personnel?
Not that I know of. They're not saying that they're carrying personnel. Probably just the pilot, co-pilot, and a couple workers.
All right, I'll let it go.
Yeah. And he kind of looks at you, then looks back down to the paper that he's holding, and looks back up to you. Is there anything else I could help you with? Commissar?
I don't believe so. Unless you have a way of expediting this voyage. Standing out to me.
I was able to make this any faster, well, I'd be the Emperor himself. And he just makes like a quick sign of the Aquila. Says, and that, well, I wouldn't be here.
Would that be considered heretical to put oneself, even hypothetically, in a position that it was meant to?
It would definitely be considered not heretical, but definitely not a good thing to say.
Yeah, so I'm like, man, if I could do that, I'd be Jesus. It's like
Pretty much.
That rubs some people the wrong way.
It
and
would
I feel like this
100%.
part of is those some people. So when he says that and he does that symbol, I imagine because he does the symbol and looks up at me, what he's met with is a stare that says, in a different circumstance, you would already be dead. You know what I mean? Like
very much so, yeah.
So, especially since it's fueled by my ire right now. Like, I've been how long in the cold black? I do not want to be here right now.
Yeah. Now, as you're talking with them, a sudden flurry of information immediately starts coming across the Voxcasters that are in the room. And you're able to feel a slight shake in the ship itself. Roll me a quick awareness. See if you can listen in on these radios that are suddenly blaring.
Yeah, I listen pretty well.
You definitely do. Yeah, I'm going to say that your wrath on that is you were able to very clearly hear. You're right next to one of the radios that's coming off. And immediately you're able to tell there's combat happening in the hangar bay itself. And these are delayed messages. Something, for whatever reason, has stopped everyone from being able to report what was happening. But these are urgent calls for reinforcements to pull back, to charge, to pull back, to secure the ship. And you get a report that there was a explosion in the hangar. The cargo lifter itself detonated in the ship. You're also able to hear that they were unable to load at least 3 large crates before fighting began on the hangar itself. And that the unarmed guardsmen who were simply there to help lift things and help the supplies get onto the ship were basically mowed down.
Honestly, I'm really upset with the structure of how the ship handles things if their guardsmen are unarmed.
Well, this is actually a different company.
It's before, but now it's woo.
Yeah, because it was they were just meant to be there for show, more or less.
Yeah. All right, so I mean, I understand that now is a moment of action. Now is a moment for. I'm literally here as a military personnel. I will approach the scenario. Not necessarily supposed to be there for combat, but I approach the scenario. Like I will get like somebody in chat was saying, "Put me in, coach." I'm gonna go and find my way to that scenario. I understand you said the lift isn't functioning. Is there a stairwell?
No, the cargo lift. That's the
okay. So the personnel lift gets
plane itself.
Okay, so to get to the appropriate, because I imagine it's a different deck of the ship. So I'm gonna rush my way there.
Yeah, so it's relatively far away from you. You might be able to take a elevator lift towards there, because it was the cargo ship that was docking that exploded, not the lift's elevator itself. Roll me. I don't know if you know your way around the ship that well.
It's been 6 months of being bored.
Just roll me a quick insight check. Let's see if you're able to quickly read a map on the ship itself. Yeah, you easily get it. Yeah, so you make your way to one of the fast-moving lifts that's you probably know is going to take you towards the lift, towards the hangar itself, where this fighting is happening. You also don't have a Vox or a radio with you. When you enter the doors of this elevator, it juts off. It's a horizontal elevator. Suddenly, in the lift itself, you feel another explosion. Not directly in you, but you're able to feel the small personnel carrier that you're in just shake as another massive explosion rocks the ship. And suddenly, you're stuck. It's no longer moving. The lights above you flicker. They don't go out, but what do you do?
The elevator just stops.
Yes.
I imagine there's protocols for this sort of a thing. So my character wouldn't panic or anything like that. He'd probably wait, like, I don't know how long it takes usually for the emergency backup system to come on and take over and so on and so forth. So I probably give it like a solid, I don't know, 20 seconds. I imagine with technology from 38,000 years from now might be high enough that 20 seconds is waiting a very long time for it. So I wait, nothing happens. And so I'm just kind of contemplating, all right, I don't know, in my actual real life mind's eye, I don't know if this is structured like a real elevator where I can grab something thin and start the door and pry it open.
Yeah, you can try and pry it open. Let's make a athletics check for that.
Okay. I'm the most athletic ever. So athletic I can find the skill.
It's on top. There you go. Oh, nice. All right.
I rolled higher than my actual skill.
You did, because you rolled a 6 and, well, you rolled 2 6s technically. Yeah, so you're able to just very easily open these doors. In front of you is a relative, I wouldn't say cavernous, but it's a long drop down by about 50 feet if you did fall, but in front of you is a wall that's maybe about 10 feet away. You could jump it if you really tried. There's no doorways near you that you can easily reach if you simply jump. If you jump, you'll be able to catch onto something on the wall, like a pipe that's running, and shimmy your way to the next entrance.
Unfortunately, my character knows his limits. There are things that he's good at, and there are things that he isn't.
No, the athletics check was pretty good.
Well, it was surprising to him that this door was easily opened. It's very likely because there was a broken mechanism or some relay or whatever inside the actual system meant for it to be unlockable and easily opened. It's not because of skill or strength. Looking at that jump, he's going to try to see if there's a different way, perhaps climbing on the outside of the vessel or something like that instead. The other outside of the personal carrier. Like that.
Yeah, it's a basically 1 to 3 person elevator tube that shoots up in whatever direction you're going very quick. Just like in Star Trek.
So with a jump, because obviously jumping down is easier than jumping across. It's
about 50 feet down.
Okay, so no, not that far.
Oh, okay.
I meant the thing that you want me to climb across and jump across to, if I could get on top of the pod and then jump across.
Yeah, there's a doorway above you.
Okay, so that would probably.
I mean, like a hatch in the
yeah, like an emergency exit. Okay, so seeing this whole scenario, I'm not going to just jump. It seems like it's stable enough that I'm not worried about it. Just So I'm going to try to go through that hatch first.
Okay, so
mind you, my character's wicked short. He's only 5'9". So,
yeah. So make a quick athletics check.
for the easy athletics check.
Okay. Yeah, you're easily able to open up this hatchway and crawl yourself and pull yourself on top of it. Yeah, the thing itself, it's relatively stable. It's held on by basically 2 wheels. It's basically a 1-car monorail. Yeah, so you want to make that jump?
Now from like having the ability to like jump down and across as opposed to, you know.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to give you difficulty 2 on this next check to jump.
Okay. I'm definitely going to pass this, so I'm not too worried about it.
If you fail, I'm going to laugh. Hey, he failed. He dies. Yeah, so you're able to make this jump. You're able to just barely grab onto piping on the side, but you're able to easily get a foothold on the side of the wall. And what do you do then? There's a doorway not too far away.
I will climb up, you know, because of the doorway. I want to climb up and over to the buff out of this situation.
Where you are, the emergency lights are already on. It's this dim red light. Power in this lift area that you are in is currently not functioning.
That's fine. So I'm not worried about that. I just need to get myself out of the immediate danger, and then I can figure out what's going on with the rest of the vessel afterwards. So
yeah, and you've been here for about probably 15-20 minutes now, just trying to open things up and the like.
Okay, sure. Am I able to get out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're able to shimmy your way to this doorway. The door itself is closed, but it does have a emergency pull switch open. As soon as you're able to pull that down, you're in one of the habitation areas now. One of the lower quality ones, still pretty nice, but not that great. Not as great as yours. Getting that 10 by 10 room, like mine.
10 by 10 by 10.
Oh man, that's even better.
Yeah.
Extra height space. Yeah, and you're able to hear the captain's voice coming from a Voxcaster almost immediately as you open the door, and you hear the end of the message, which is saying, non-crew personnel, abandon ship.
I'm not crew.
Yes, you are not crew. You are a passenger.
So I hear this. I'm not sure if I want to abandon ship yet, but it was the order, and so I contemplated. There are 2 points of exit that are of note. One, I have my own escape pod, and I totally hop on that thing. How far is that from where I am? If there's some sort of map or something nearby,
you would know just from memory. Basically, it's beaten into you. You probably have your data slate with you, and you're able to open up a quick map. Yeah, it's not too far. It's definitely a sprint to get there.
Sure.
But you're not really near anything else at the moment. Just the habitation corridor.
Well, I was going to say, and then the other option was where all this went sideways, where I was already heading towards. There was a
much further away still. It's a good
really?
10-15 minute run if you sprint it.
Is the ship current? I realize it. I think about this for a second. I place my hand against the wall of the ship. Is it vibrating?
No.
Not like engines whirring, basic vibrations you more or less grow to ignore. I mean like combat explosions happening, big things sideways.
100% yes.
Okay. So contemplating for another extra moment, I just I guess abandoning ship is what I'm going to do, you know, and so I don't have my basic supplies, but if there's anything that seems like it might be, I have to think survival training mode. If anything jumps out at me as I'm running along, I'm going to grab that stuff. So it's not going to be a hard sprint, but more of like a fast jog.
Yeah, you have like your basic stuff, like your weapons and.
But I don't have like a mess.
Yeah, you probably don't have your mess kit. Luckily, survivor pods usually have that stuff.
Yep.
Mementos and like that fine alcohol collection you bought on one of the past stops. Yeah, that's still back there.
My character's not really very memento-y. You know what I mean? And very much everything in his life is kind of burned down and burned away as he's traveled through it. So it's like keeping a piece of ash is just a waste of, like why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So yeah, you run towards the Savior Pod location, and you have to dodge crowds as you're running through, as they run away. And nice awareness.
Is me looking for shit on the way? I find a friend?
No. They're dead. No. Yeah, so as you're looking, you get jostled into like, you lose some thrown gelts as you're running, but nothing else. Someone accidentally knocks into you. But yeah, you're able to make it towards where your specific Savior Pod is. It looks like most of the other Savior Pods have already launched. It took you a while to get here. The one that you're assigned to still has its door open.
Is there anyone in it?
There's a couple figures in it. It actually looks like you would know this as a convert, there's a Catachan jungle warrior, or jungle guardsman aboard, in a tank top with his weapons and knives ready. And there's an Astartes here, a space marine, already seated and buckled in.
I mean, these are capable warriors and people that are probably more than the rest of the fucking heretics here. Dedicated to the cause, so at least company wouldn't be so bad. But I do think for a moment, wasn't this my assigned personal god? Why the hell?
Personal, as in it's meant for you and other people. You are assigned it. It's not one that you have an assigned seat.
You're 317B. Shut up and sit down, okay? You do not get the window.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
The good news is there's these 2 of the 4 seats already taken, and then one seat that appears to be a pilot seat. The inside is, of course, made of metal. There's a few cogitators or computer screens and the like about.
Okay.
And as you
I do. So before I go walking into it,
yeah,
last things I do want to do is, because I see the pilot seat is open, it's not being taken. My character would look about, see clearly one strapped in, the other one's probably not looking very pilot-y. And contemplating whether or not it's going to have to be his job to take that pilot seat, because he is a capable pilot. He does look back to see if there seems to be anybody else coming.
Not that you can see right off the bat.
He takes the assumption that it's going to be his seat as the pilot, and it's kind of one of those like, it's going to be a bumpy ride. He literally says as he's walking onto the vessel, this is going to be a bumpy ride. And starts walking towards the pilot seat.
And that, we fade to black. All right. Awesome job. We ran a little bit over by 20 minutes. Sorry about that, everybody. I lost track of time.
I'm actually not sorry. You're welcome, okay? Okay, Frank's time is valuable, and he gave it to you.
I'm sorry you all had to put up with Scott for extra time. No, he screamed. I didn't.
That's right.
They couldn't. I didn't even have me up yet. Oh goodness gracious, that was awesome. Yeah, y'all went over a little bit, but hopefully it was okay.
Both times we went over break and then over end. Scott,
was break long?
No.
Yeah,
break.
by 30 minutes.
No, break was 10 minutes.
Oh!
He meant that you went
over until
past the time that you were supposed to go.
But honestly, though, I won't lie.
Over the time for it.
That was, I mean, I don't listen. That was totally worth it. That whole scene, that whole scenario, that like down in the sewers bit. I was like so engrossed. I was like, "This is awesome. Let's get them on the bar." Like I was.
It's like, this guy's a fucking heretic, Frank. I need to kill him.
I had to pee.
Dude, your luck is insane.
Huh?
Your luck is insane.
Oh, it's not luck.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's not luck. I hacked the system.
Okay.
I got this. Like, if you don't know how well Neil rolls, I was sick and tired of Neil rolling well in every campaign he ever plays in. So I finally found out how to hack Roll20 and break his luck, and then I was able to siphon it to myself.
Right, sure. All right, well, that was awesome. But we'll wrap things up. Thank you all for coming and watching, and we hope that you enjoyed it. We're going to let everyone know where you can find them at, and then let you know what's going on with the channel, as well as when you can tune in for some more action. So first and foremost, obviously, our prequel episode of Luther. Tell us a little bit about what your favorite moment was tonight, and then, of course, where people can find you at.
Me?
Yeah.
My favorite moment was that literally right before we cut to break, I thought Frank did a perfect spot right there, was that one line, because there's a taste of what Luther's perception is of how it is to be his position. It is a little uncouth, but certainly, at least in his mind, far from heretical, because he will hunt down and kill chaos, heretics, and so on and so forth. So I'm excited to see that approach expanded upon. My name's Daleric. You can find me mostly on twitch.tv/Daleric, but also twitch.tv/Lost Initiative Show. And in case you haven't found me there before, on Monday nights going live at 10 p.m. EST, you can actually find me at twitch.tv/MaggleRock. That's MaggleRock. Totally, you can find me there. I swear it. Big thing to note of things that I'm doing is on my channel, I have a campaign going on called Aurorum Kingmaker. It's my own homebrew world. It's literally using Pathfinder Kingmaker rule set. The party is this close to actually building their own kingdom and starting to use the kingdom rules. Very soon I'll be launching my second campaign in that world, which will be called Aurorum Regicide. The two of them are taking place in the same world, same timeline, same universe, will be affecting each other. Those two names totally aren't related at all whatsoever. So let's see how that goes.
Yay, that sounds awesome. I've always wanted to do a show like that. I mean, I've talked about it.
Oh, I
a
love
few
doing
times.
games like that.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, definitely go check out Derek's stuff. He's got some good stuff over there. Does a lot of tabletop, and he's as awesome a DM as he is a player. But I'm glad I get to play alongside him. I can't wait for our group. We have one last prequel.
2 more weeks, Maggie. We can
Yeah,
finally
I
be
know.
together. Hey, can I make a formal request?
What's your formal request?
Keep your fucking weapons away from me, okay? You point that somewhere else. No, you point that somewhere else, okay?
I think I am the weapon, though.
Is it too late to say no?
You're gonna have to kill her. Sorry.
But yeah, Ostara's prequel will be happening next. So definitely want to tune in for that. And then the week after that is our launch, July 8th, when we have the full squadron together and chaos will ensue because it's Warhammer. And of course, last but not least, our wonderful game master, Frank. What was your favorite moment tonight? And did everything go as you had planned, as well as where people could find you at?
My favorite moment was when it finally clicked in Scott/Luther that, oh, this guy's a heretic.
Yeah.
This is like,
the chat
I'm just
was
gonna
already
drop
freaking about it as soon as they met him.
It's like, hey, this random guy who's pulling off this last squad of basically teenagers to go fight in the sewer. Yeah, totally not suspicious and wrong.
I don't know. The orcs came through the... You say mushroom people down in dark, damp area?
Yeah.
Totally weird.
Weird that they didn't show up right away.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that's what like tipped chat off. It's like,
honestly, for me, that didn't come off as strange to me because they were guards guarding that door there. So I was like, oh, so they just have been beaten back, and that's why they're not immediately there. It was when we were like, wait, there's no bodies here, and then there's like dead person bodies without dead orc. That's where I was starting to think this is a little funky.
yeah.
Prior to that, I was like, oh, it's just we have a defense line and it's successful. Hey, so.
Anybody knows 40K, they will be mentioning purple in chat during that part because purple's the stealthy color. It goes fast. Purple stealth. Orcs paint themselves purple because it's stealthy.
I bet
I
it's
love
true.
orcs. They are amazing.
Maybe everyone has a purple deficiency and they can't see purple.
True.
I'm just saying maybe you should have every room painted either like a light orange or bright yellow.
Okay,
so the
yellow
orcs should always be seen. What?
So yellow in orc culture means it's harder. So if you're wearing armor, you paint your armor yellow. Yeah. Orcs are weird. they are also all latently psionic creatures. So what if they think it's true? It's true.
And of course, Frank, did everything go as you had planned?
Yes. Everything always goes as planned. I didn't expect Delric to fall to his death. I also thought I was trying to tempt you into being a proper commissar and shoot the person who was disobeying orders like a proper commissar.
I didn't know we were stopping there. If we were just stopping there, that'd be one thing. But I still am happy that it played out the way it did. Very, very, very happy. Like, that was my favorite moment.
I was surprised too. I thought you were gonna shoot them because your like
you
backstory
walked
was like, I have the blood of my allies on my hands, and I was like,
Absolutely,
oh,
but I did a lot of reading about commissars. So commissars in 40K are based on, to a degree, commissars that actually exist in the Soviet Union. And
Yes.
most of what's understood about commissars in the Soviet Union is American Cold War propaganda. But if you actually read about what real commissars do, or did, or whatever, there was actually a really, really cool position that just failed like 6 times every time they tried to institute them over there. So I was like, oh, this is like a really cool perspective. If I actually designed this character to be a 40K commissar, but somewhat similar to a real life commissar's actual position, then that would be a fun little twist and make the character stand as unique and not just, I kill you. Ugh.
I
'Cause then you
mean,
just come off as like an angry player.
yeah,
did
you
make
know?
you different, that's for sure.
Yeah.
it does. Now, I'm going to drop this knowledge bomb on you. In the actual board game itself, commissars have a special move where you just get to execute one of your pieces to restore morale.
I mean, honestly, 5e.
Well, that person's probably causing chaos. They're probably
Exactly.
spreading hearsay.
What was I saying? So in 5e, you have with a goblin chief, or I can't remember the actual NPC is called, but literally has the ability to pick up a goblin and put it in the way of an attack, so they don't take the
Yes,
damage.
I know exactly who you're
that's
talking
so
about. Yeah.
good.
I love it so much.
I know
It's like,
exactly
nope.
which one you're talking about.
Oh, so funny. Oh,
Frank, where can
anyways,
people find you at, buddy?
Well, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Discord at Control Alt Frank. Pretty much everywhere except Instagram. I don't do Instagram.
And I don't think you're on Facebook as Control, Frank, are you?
Don't use Facebook. Even my personal Facebook, I don't log into.
I deleted mine ages
I do
ago.
for friendship, and I have to for work, so.
I
like I'm already
only
there.
have it for Messenger.
If you want to be my friend, go on to Discord. I don't think they're aggregating data. Of course.
Does that mean we're friends? Oh yeah, Discord's totally
Uh,
aggregating all your data.
No. Yeah,
They say that when
100%.
you log in.
course.
Also, Card was asking me to kill you the entire time. Don't believe his lies.
Yeah, but that's because Card wants to see me suffer. That's why he always convinces
I
me
mean,
to play
don't we
video.
all want? No, just kidding. Well, thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, be sure to give it a follow. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you don't miss out any notifications. Leave a comment below. And of course, if you're watching this or you just tuned in to the stream right now, we will have this up on YouTube for another premiere over there, as well as forever after that. So you can go watch it tomorrow. And so on and therefore. And next week we have on Monday, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/MargaretCrown. We will have our next prequel, which will be our final prequel, and that will be with me and my character, Ostara. And after that, we launch the show on July 8th. And of course, on this channel this week, we still have more stuff to come. So Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific, we have our SVK for Kids, which is our Dungeons & Dragons game where you, as a viewer, can also interact and make crazy things happen. And then on Thursday, we have our second episode of our Witches and Spellcraft game, which is a game that I've made, and soon you will have access to it as well. And that is going to be with a whole bunch of awesome people, 7 p.m. on Thursday, same place. And over on Roll For It, I'll be there Saturday and Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific. So thank you all for watching and joining us, and we'll see you Wednesday and next Monday for Unsung Fury. Toodles.
Bye.
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 Hashtag shoot Maggie. I don't have to.